Chapter 183. The campsite was empty, without a single soul in sight. A small number of girls who didn't like off-road vehicles would also look for other rides. At this time, only a few unlucky people who suddenly fell sick were left behind. Rin Kiyono returned to her room, took a towel, a bath towel, and a bathrobe, and prepared to take a bath. Every wooden cabin was equipped with a small bathroom, and the water was also hot spring, but since there were few people, she decided to take a few more steps and go to the outdoor hot spring. Maybe she could enjoy the whole place. The changing room was very spacious, and there was no one in sight, but there was a basket filled with clothes, so it seemed that someone was inside. She was a little disappointed. She tied her hair into a bun at the back of her head, took off her layers of clothes, took a bath towel, and walked barefoot into the bathhouse. The outdoor hot spring was much larger than she imagined, almost comparable to a normal swimming pool. If she really wanted to swim in the hot spring, there would be no problem. In order to emphasize the natural characteristics, the bathhouse was completely built with stones, and between the stones, there were shrubs and simple lamps. The water was the unique white color of natural hot springs, and it was clearly different from normal clear hot water, which could be distinguished at a glance. It was surrounded by tall bamboo fences. Although it obstructed her view and made her lose the sense of openness, it was a necessary sacrifice compared to being seen naked. She scooped some hot water from a bucket, gently poured it over her body, and then put her feet into the bath. The water temperature was just right. She chose a remote side of the pool, leaned against a natural rock, and slowly sat down. Her slender legs, curvy belly, and snow-white skin all sank into the hot spring water. She sighed comfortably, and looked at the big rock in the middle of the bath. It looked majestic, so it should be real. She didn't know if Toru Watanabe could move it. Behind the rock, at the end of the mist, she could vaguely see the person who came first. Just as Rin Kiyono was about to close her eyes and enjoy the hot spring, the figure raised a hand and waved in her direction. Who? Is Tamamo so beautiful that she's so friendly? Or Aoi Ichiki? Or one of the girls in her class? Just as she was about to pretend that she didn't see, the figure cut through the water and swam towards her. Kiyono classmate, can I sit here? Rin Kiyono's gaze slid across Aona Koizumi's bulging chest. He nodded and said, "Go ahead." Aona Koizumi was 2 seats away from her and also rested her head on the natural rock. The two of them gazed at the distant mountains and silently enjoyed the hot spring. Rin Kiyono had a pretty good impression of Aona Koizumi. Even though she often lied like other people, it was all in order to better educate her students. She was trying her best to do her job well. Moreover, she was Toru Watanabe's favorite teacher. Wait a moment. Rin Kiyono recalled something. Aona Koizumi loved Toru Watanabe the most. This was something that both Class 1 and Class 4 knew. She was the English teacher of these 2 classes, but given Toru Watanabe's character, he would definitely lie to her a lot. Thinking about how he was hit by a big snowball, he burst into laughter. "Teacher Koizumi, why are you here?" Rin Kiyono took the initiative to talk to her. Aona Koizumi, who was absent-minded, subconsciously replied, 2 girls in my class are on their period and not feeling well, so I stayed to take care of them." "Where's Kiyono classmate? Didn't you go out to play?" "I was bullied by Watanabe classmate." "Bullied?" Aona Koizumi looked at Rin Kiyono's side profile. "Yes. He used a football-sized snowball to hit me 7 times on purpose." After a short pause, she continued, "He's not as good as you think he is. He's a completely different person behind your back. Of course, overall he's really outstanding." "I see." Aona Koizumi looked at the distant mountains. Her tone was full of ridicule, and she didn't take Rin Kiyono's words to heart. Rin Kiyono couldn't help but turn her head. "Teacher, aren't you curious about the bad side of him? You don't need to tell me this kind of thing, you two. It's normal for a boy to bully a girl he likes. It can't be considered bad." "A girl he likes." Rin Kiyono scooped up the hot spring water with one hand and poured it on her collarbone. "Teacher, do you think he really likes me? Isn't that obvious?" Aona Koizumi looked at her with some surprise. She didn't understand why the two of them who were already playing Narrate still had such doubts. Rin Kiyono put her index finger on her chin and muttered, "So it's already so obvious." Aona Koizumi remembered Toru Watanabe's request to keep their relationship behind Miki Kujo's back a secret. "No, actually it's not obvious at all," she hurriedly said. Rin Kiyono looked at her in confusion. How should I put it? Actually, teacher has a lot of experience, that's why I can tell right away." "A lie. I see." Rin Kiyono lost the desire to chat. Aona Koizumi felt uneasy. She even said that she had a lot of experience. Did she manage to hide it or not? The sound of water splashing came from the tall bamboo railings, as if someone was splashing water on themselves. Then, there was the sound of someone moving in the pool, and it was getting closer and closer. "Are-san, are you there? I'm Watanabe." The voice was soft, as if it was a secret code. Aona Koizumi looked at Rin Kiyono strangely, then quickly turned her head away as if she didn't hear anything. What bullied? So it was a secret date. Young people these days really knew how to have fun. Wait a minute, would Watanabe come directly to the women's pool later? Just as Aona Koizumi was hesitating about whether she should inform Toru Watanabe that she was still here and not do anything overboard, Rin Kiyono sighed helplessly. "What is it? Is it true that you and Miki agreed to marry the same person?" she asked quietly. Rin Kiyono frowned slightly. But before she could answer, Aona Koizumi's sharp voice sounded. "Watanabe. Koizumi-sensei? You're here too." "Yeah, I'm here too." Ever since Toru Watanabe came, Rin Kiyono felt that Aona Koizumi's mood was off, and her tone was stiff. "What's wrong? Is there some unspeakable secret between the two of them?" Thinking about how the two of them were much closer than normal people, Rin Kiyono couldn't help but doubt the possibility of such a guess. On the other side, Toru Watanabe had finished asking Aona Koizumi why she was here. "Toru Watanabe-san." Rin Kiyono spoke. "Are you in a bad mood? Are you angry?" Toru Watanabe's simple rhetorical question, and his soft and probing voice made Rin Kiyono speechless for a moment. While she was getting to know Toru Watanabe was also getting to know her. The moment she realized this simple thing, she thought of many things. The two of them walked through the streets in the early hours of the morning, watched the trolley rumble by on the overpass, looked up at the same starry sky in the middle of the night, and now, soaked in a hot spring and chatted with bamboo bars. The two of them could foresee that they would be together for at least 2 more years in high school and 4 more years in university. This kind of future didn't seem to be very annoying. "Kiyono-san?" Rin Kiyono came back to her senses and recalled her mood when she asked the question just now. "Yeah, a little." "Is it because of Snowball?" "No." Aona Koizumi was right beside her, but the girl never lied, so, "It's because of you and Koizumi-sensei," she said. "Me and Koizumi-sensei? Because of me?" Aona Koizumi was surprised at first, and then suddenly seemed to understand something. "Well, I'm done soaking. Watanabe, you and Kiyono-san take your time soaking, but don't soak for too long, or you'll get dizzy." After saying that, she stood up, covered her front with a bath towel, and walked to the indoor changing room. Water droplets slid down her graceful body. Rin Kiyono vaguely felt that Toru Watanabe seemed to be helpless on the other side of the bamboo bars. "You like Koizumi-sensei?" she asked. "Isn't that a given?" Rin Kiyono felt inexplicably uncomfortable. She couldn't help but mock him. "So you like older women?" "No, my love for Koizumi-sensei is just ordinary love. What I really like is Kiyono-san, a student like you, such as Miki." "Can you be a little more serious? Am I lying?" "No, right?" "How is telling the truth not serious?" Rin Kiyono sighed deeply. "I'm going to close my eyes and rest for a while." "Okay." The two of them stopped talking. Rin Kiyono also sank her neck into the hot spring, leaned her head against the stone, and looked up at the sky. Suddenly, it started snowing. Pure white snowflakes drifted down from the colorless and transparent sky. It was indescribably beautiful. As the snowflakes melted in the hot spring, her body seemed to melt along with them. She felt warm all over and couldn't muster up any strength. Perhaps it was because of the long ride yesterday, the courage trial, and today's off-road car race and snowball battle. A wave of sleepiness crept over her. Her vision slowly darkened. By the time she realized that something was wrong, her body had already lost control. "Kiyono-san, I'm almost done. I'll take my leave first," Toru Watanabe called out. No one responded. Toru Watanabe was slightly puzzled. He didn't hear the sound of water just now. Rin Kiyono was definitely still inside, and she definitely wasn't someone who didn't speak because she was angry. This person hated everyone, so she was so polite to the point of being ruthless. "Kiyono-san? Rosa-san?" Still no response. Toru Watanabe faintly felt that something was wrong, so he raised his voice and called out twice more. This time there was finally a very, very small response. "Do. Bien. Kiyono-san." Toru Watanabe swooshed out of the hot spring and stood up. He quickly glanced at the bamboo fence. It was smooth and high, and there was no way he could jump over it. He ran into the changing room. He didn't have time to put on his bathrobe, so he casually wrapped a bath towel around his waist and rushed into the female bathroom. When he passed by the female changing room, he took the light blue bathrobe from Rin Kiyono's basket. The layout of the female bathroom was much more elegant than the male bathroom with the rabbit peeing sculpture. However, Toru Watanabe didn't have any thoughts of studying the female bathroom at this time. Rin Kiyono's whole body was soaked in the white-hot spring water. The only part of her face that was exposed was already red and covered with sweat. "Kiyono." Toru Watanabe quickly walked over, put his hands on her arms, closed his eyes, and lifted her up. Then, based on his memory, he put on the bathrobe for her. Her arms were fine. When he closed his eyes to look for the belt, his hands would accidentally scratch her skin. In order to suppress his pounding heart, Toru Watanabe closed his eyes tightly. After making sure that the belt was buckled, he opened his eyes and was already sweating. But there was one thing that he didn't think of wiping his sweat. Rin Kiyono's legs that were boldly exposed from the bathrobe, her slightly open neckline, and her neck that was faintly visible between the ends of her hair and the collar of the bathrobe. All of these made Toru Watanabe dizzy. He took a deep breath, stretched out his hand, tidied up the bathrobe, and helped her into the changing room. It was snowing outside, and the temperature was lower. It made her wake up faster, but if the temperature was too low, she would catch a cold. Toru Watanabe helped her sit down on a stool and gently fanned her with his hand. After a while, Rin Kiyono slowly opened her eyes. "You're awake? Are you okay?" She was still in a state where she couldn't speak. "Don't worry, I only saw a little bit of your collarbone and legs. I didn't see or touch the important parts." Rin Kiyono seemed to be relieved. The ability to see through lies would cause interpersonal relationships to become cold, but it could indeed reduce misunderstandings and conflicts. If he didn't have this ability, Toru Watanabe wouldn't be able to explain himself. But if he took the opportunity to see everything, how would Rin Kiyono react? Based on her usual rationality, she would probably accept it helplessly, right? But she liked to target him. Maybe she would throw her rationality aside and use the experience of saving someone from a coma to ask him. But this was the body of the goddess Kiyono. This might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Rin Kiyono was fine, but Toru Watanabe was a little regretful. While his imagination was running wild, his eyes were not honest. His gaze moved down from Rin Kiyono's face. Every curve that made up this body was precisely calculated and designed. Every inch of the body had its own function, and the body was so slender. "What are you looking at?" "You can talk now?" "Yes." "What are you looking at?" Rin Kiyono asked again. "To tell you the truth, I'm regretting it now. I shouldn't have taken advantage of the situation, attacked when he was unprepared, took advantage of the opportunity, made things worse, robbed, and left him in the lurch. Left him in the lurch? Sorry, I know too many idioms. It slipped out of my mouth. Rin Kiyono rolled her eyes at him and closed them again. The breeze from Toru Watanabe's fanning hand made her feel cool, and at the same time, there was a faint warmth in her heart. Toru Watanabe let her rest for a while and said, "Can you walk now? I'll help you back to your room." Rin Kiyono felt the state of her body and nodded. Okay. Toru Watanabe got up and went to get Rin Kiyono's clothes. Her underwear was already folded, so he didn't have to struggle. After he stood up, Rin Kiyono realized that he was only wearing a bath towel. His shoulders were broad, and the muscles on his forearms and back were beautiful and good-looking. His waist was very thin, and under the bath towel, his butt seemed to be very perky. "Can't you put on your own clothes first?" Rin Kiyono said coldly. "Me?" Toru Watanabe looked down. "I almost forgot. Wait for me for a while. I'll go back and put on my clothes." Rin Kiyono didn't answer. She closed her eyes. After Toru Watanabe handed Rin Kiyono's clothes to her, he walked out of the bathroom and prepared to go back to the men's bathroom. "Chiaki, I just finished soaking. Is there a limit to the number of times I can soak in the hot spring? Come soak with me for a while. I still have to take care of the students. You can go by yourself. They're on their period. What's the point of you guarding them? Besides, they're already here." "Watanabe?" Chiaki pulled Aona Koizumi's hand and blinked. She looked at Toru Watanabe, who came out of the women's bathroom with only a bath towel around his waist. "Chiaki, let's go back to the wooden house and soak." Aona Koizumi pulled Chiaki, who was still in a daze, back to the wooden house in a panic. "Sensei, Koizumi-sensei, don't go. I have something to ask of you." Toru Watanabe's voice was very loud, but it didn't reach their ears. After he changed his clothes and went back to the women's bathroom, Rin Kiyono was watching the show with a smile. "You're still laughing? We've been misunderstood." Rin Kiyono brushed her long hair away from her shoulders and said proudly, "I don't care what they think of me." Yes, you're thick-skinned." "Thick-skinned? Watanabe-san, please pay attention to your words." After sending Rin Kiyono back to the girls' dormitory, which was occupied by hairdryers and hairdryers, Toru Watanabe thought of Miki Kujo. She's alone in the hot spring. Will something happen to her? Toru Watanabe hurriedly ran over. In Miki Kujo's room, she was leisurely soaking in the hot spring. She was drinking lemon juice while admiring the snowy scenery. When she saw Toru Watanabe come in, she patted the water. "Come in." Chapter 184. Toru Watanabe walked to the side of the bathtub, picked up the glass jug of lemon juice, poured himself a glass, and gulped it down. Bathing, saving people, and rushing here in a hurry had caused him to lose a lot of water. Miki Kujo looked at his Adam's apple moving up and down. "What's the matter? Why are you so flustered?" Toru Watanabe put down the empty glass. "I finished bathing, and when I stood up, I suddenly felt dizzy. I was worried that something would happen to you, so I hurried over." "You're making a fuss over nothing. But I'm very satisfied. As a reward, I'll allow you to bathe with me again." "No," Toru Watanabe said. "I'm very hot right now. I'm not interested in the hot spring." Miki Kujo reached out and grabbed Toru Watanabe's collar, pulling him directly into the bathtub. "Wait, I haven't taken off my clothes. It's not bad to wear clothes occasionally." "Miki, I find that you're getting more and more lecherous. Because I'm liking you more and more." Miki Kujo sat on Toru Watanabe's lap, her hands on his shoulders, and a contemptuous smile on her lips. Toru Watanabe put his hand on her slender waist. "In this position, neither of us can see the snow. Is the snow as beautiful as me?" Miki Kujo's voice was undulating. Without waiting for Toru Watanabe's reply, she bent down slightly and stuck out her soft pink tongue. Toru Watanabe looked up. At the same time, the hand on Miki Kujo's waist moved up the flawless curve of her back, and finally circled to the front. It was already noon when they came out of the hot spring. The two of them were ready to eat. Miki Kujo planned to eat in the room, but Toru Watanabe forced her to put on her pantyhose, clothes, and skirt, and carried her out of the room. "You wrinkled my clothes," Miki Kujo scolded, but her body was still in Toru Watanabe's arms. This campsite was very famous and had a complete set of facilities. There were all kinds of restaurants. The two of them walked into a barbecue restaurant. There was a snowman in front of the restaurant. It was still snowing, but the restaurant was steaming hot. The customers were eating barbecue and drinking iced beer and other drinks. Just looking at this scene made him feel like he was enjoying himself. After finding a seat, Miki Kujo stood by the table without moving. Toru Watanabe said to the waiter, "Please change to a new chair and tableware. Put the cost on the bill." The waiter had never encountered such a situation before. He spoke to the boss, and after receiving the order to replace it for free, only then did he bring a new one to replace it. Even if it was new, Toru Watanabe wiped it with a tissue before Miki Kujo sat down. How troublesome. Toru Watanabe took a big gulp of Coke. Drinking iced Coke after soaking in a hot spring on a snowy day was one of life's greatest pleasures. "You think I'm troublesome?" Miki Kujo's eyes were unfriendly. "You misunderstood me. I really admire your courage to walk into a barbecue restaurant." "I still have Miki," Toru Watanabe said. "Her." Rin Kiyono turned the pork belly over. "Then it's not a problem of the meat being harder." "What do you mean?" Miki Kujo's tone suddenly became tough. Toru Watanabe didn't wait for Rin Kiyono to counterattack. He said, "It's okay. Miki and I can't do it, but we still have you. We're a team." Rin Kiyono and Miki Kujo looked at him at the same time. Toru Watanabe drank his cola as if nothing had happened. The salt and pepper beef tongue was cooked very quickly. When one side was cooked, they could smell the strong barbecue aroma. When both sides were cooked, it reached the peak of the aroma. When the aroma filled the restaurant, it was ready to eat. Toru Watanabe put 3 slices on the grill, 1 for each person. Unlike Toru Watanabe, who directly stuffed the beef tongue into his mouth, the two young ladies coincidentally folded the beef tongue in half and then put it in their mouths. Delicious. Toru Watanabe picked up the tongs and put the beef ribs on the grill. It was a long strip. "I don't know how to do this." "You do it." He handed the tongs to Rin Kiyono, who had just put down her chopsticks. "Don't say it like you know how to do it." Rin Kiyono took the tongs. Toru Watanabe drank his cola with one hand and felt the stimulating carbonation. He sighed with satisfaction. "The Kujo family's young lady is eating with me. The Kiyono family's young lady is barbecuing meat for me. Who would receive this kind of treatment? That's right, it's me, Watanabe, Tokyo's handsome guy, the child of a farmer in Iwate Prefecture. You're getting too carried away." Miki Kujo looked at him with an unfriendly gaze. "I drank a bit of wine and got drunk." Toru Watanabe shook the cola bottle and pointed at the grill. "Remember to burn the corn." "I like it." Rin Kiyono put down the tongs. "Since you're a handsome guy from Tokyo, you should be a gentleman, right? I'll have to trouble you to barbecue meat for us." "Stingy." Toru Watanabe shook his head indifferently. He picked up the tongs and flipped all the ingredients over. But just as he was about to flip them over again, Rin Kiyono couldn't hold back anymore. "That's enough. Give it to me." She reached out and took back the tongs. Frequently flipping the meat during the barbecue process will easily cause moisture loss. Don't you know such common sense? "Miki, do you know?" Toru Watanabe asked. Miki Kujo sneered and didn't say whether she knew or not. When the rib was about to be burnt, Rin Kiyono used scissors to cut it into a mouthful size. "It's done." She put down the tongs and panted lightly. She seemed to be tired after doing such a small thing. Toru Watanabe impatiently picked up a piece. The freshly baked hot meat bloomed in his mouth like a flower. He commented as he ate. "Hot, so hot. I want to swallow it, but I have no choice but to surrender to its chewiness." I can't give up the rich butter flavor that comes with chewing. I can't bear to swallow it at all. It's so annoying. Watching him chew, Rin Kiyono nodded with satisfaction and showed a little pride. She took off her coat, picked up her chopsticks, and ate. Miki Kujo swallowed the food in her mouth and said to Toru Watanabe, "Don't talk when you eat." "It doesn't matter. It's just the three of us." Toru Watanabe took a sip of Coke and picked up another piece. There was an obvious white tendon in the rib. It was roasted until it was very soft and glutinous. When he ate it, he really wanted to eat 2 mouthfuls of rice. "Who's with the three of us?" Miki Kujo said. "I'll prepare some rice. Do you want some?" Toru Watanabe extinguished the fire again. Rin Kiyono nodded. "Small bowl." "I also want a small bowl and a portion of sturgeon soup." Miki Kujo also ate until it was hot and began to take off her coat. Toru Watanabe asked for 2 small bowls of rice, 1 large bowl of rice, and 3 bowls of sturgeon soup. He, who couldn't wait to eat, was not in the mood. In front of him were 2 impeccable beauties. They took off their coats and wore close-fitting sweaters. Their breasts were bulging, their waists were slender, and their lips were pink and glossy with a little oil. Toru Watanabe looked at the beautiful scenery in front of him and took a sip of the steaming sturgeon soup. He sighed in satisfaction. "It's snowing heavily," Rin Kiyono suddenly said. Toru Watanabe and Miki Kujo looked out of the window at the same time. The heavy snow was like a velvet quilt that had been torn open. The forest was covered, and the snow-capped mountains in the distance were enchanting. Heaven and earth were white. Ding-ling. The doorbell brought the three of them back to their senses. Outside the door, 3 young men and women walked in. "Phew, the shop is still the most comfortable. My feet are wet. How annoying. Hurry up and find a seat. I'm starving after skiing for the whole morning." The boy and the girl in the pink ski suit were holding hands. They seemed to be a couple. The girl in the red ski suit was chatting with the other girl. They were probably best friends. Toru Watanabe retracted his gaze. "Is the pork belly ready?" "Wait a moment." Rin Kiyono squeezed lemon juice. "It's ready. Please enjoy. The pork belly is delicious too. I haven't had barbecued meat in a long time. It's so delicious." The other 2 saw him tearing the meat and chewing in big mouthfuls and unconsciously ate more. The aroma of barbecued meat wafted in the air. After the mushrooms are soaked in the sauce, not only do they have the sweetness of the sauce, but they also have the flavor of the barbecue. Rin Kiyono nodded in agreement. She was more like a gourmet than a customer. Toru Watanabe picked up his corn and put the scallops in the tin foil plate on the barbecue grill. "I like slightly burnt corn." Toru Watanabe rubbed a row of corn with his hands, threw it into his mouth, and chewed. "In my hometown, I would burn the potatoes and corn on purpose. It's very fragrant. Do you want to try it?" The 2 young ladies didn't respond. It seemed that it was difficult for city people and country people to identify with each other. Toru Watanabe didn't mind. He rubbed the corn with his fingers and admired the 2 girls. "I'm going to the bathroom." A voice came from not far away. It was the girl in the pink ski suit from Group 3. Toru Watanabe didn't pay attention at first, but he accidentally saw the boy feeding the girl in the red ski suit. Cough, cough. He almost choked on the corn. Miki Kujo looked at him with disdain. "Be careful." "No." Toru Watanabe gestured for them to look in that direction. The 2 girls looked over. The girl in the red ski suit opened her mouth. The boy was feeding her barbecue meat with chopsticks. The girl purposely put her chopsticks in her mouth. The boy and the girl didn't speak, but smiled ambiguously at each other. That boy was holding hands with the girl in pink? Rin Kiyono asked with certainty. "Cheating," Miki Kujo said. "Scumbag." Toru Watanabe shook his head and ate another handful of corn. Delicious. And the taste of home. The snow outside was getting heavier and heavier. On the barbecue grill, the scallops were bubbling in the tin foil plate. "Jealous." Miki Kujo asked with a smile. Do I need to be jealous of him? In order to prevent misunderstandings, Toru Watanabe added an explanation. Not to mention the two of them, even if there were 200, 2,000, or 20,000, they wouldn't be able to compare to a single strand of your hair, Miki. Miki Kujo snorted disdainfully, glib tongue. Can you not talk about disgusting things when eating? Rin Kiyono ate the broccoli in small bites. The three of them no longer paid attention to the table and continued to eat the barbecue. Toru Watanabe ate the barbecued tenderloin with white rice. He ate 3 mouthfuls in a row and drank a mouthful of sturgeon soup. The scallops are ready, the chef reminded Kiyono. Wait a minute. Let me test the poison for you first. Toru Watanabe reached for the tin foil box with his chopsticks. Without coming into contact with an open flame, the scallops retained their moisture and smoothness. With a light bite of his teeth, the scallops broke into 2 halves and a fresh fragrance burst out in his mouth. It was so delicious that Toru Watanabe was speechless and gave Rin Kiyono a thumbs up. The two of them watched him wolf down the food and also began to eat. It's average, Miki Kujo commented after eating. Lies. After saying that, Rin Kiyono immersed herself in her own world and carefully tasted the scallops. The garlic stimulates the saltiness and sets off the fragrance of the seafood very well, but the quality of the scallops itself is slightly inferior. Miki Kujo glanced at her and lazily rested her chin on one hand as she sipped on her fruit juice. She was full and began to feel sleepy. Waiter, please give me another bowl of rice. Toru Watanabe shouted. Okay. Please wait a moment. It'll be right up. Miki Kujo looked at him and said lazily, Is it that good? When I was bathing just now, I used too much energy. Toru Watanabe replied. Under the table, Miki Kujo, who had her legs crossed, kicked him. On the table, Rin Kiyono pulled her hair behind her ears and took a sip of the sturgeon soup to cover her face. When the meal was almost over, the two young ladies ordered ice cream and ate it in small bites. Toru Watanabe dipped the premium pork belly in sauce and ate it with the rice. After eating, he ate the mint-flavored ice cream. Outside the window, it was still snowing. In the shop, the barbecued meat sizzled under the charcoal fire. When Toru Watanabe finished eating the ice cream, the snow had just lightened and was about the same as when they arrived. The three of them prepared to go back. I'll go pay the bill. Put on your jackets and don't catch a cold. Toru Watanabe walked to the cashier. 35,000 yuan. The waiter said. Toru Watanabe took out 4 10,000 yuan notes from his wallet and handed them to the cashier. 1,000 yuan, 2, 3, a total of 5. The cashier counted them in front of him and then handed him the change with both hands. Your change is 5,000 yuan. Thank you. Toru Watanabe looked back. The two young ladies were already behind him and had put on their clothes. The waiter said, Please be careful on your way back. Please come again. The three of them walked out of the shop. The snow fell on their bodies, cold and comfortable. The world was white. In the heavy snow, they stepped on the snow and walked toward the wooden house. What's your plan in the afternoon? Do you want to go fishing? Toru Watanabe asked loudly. Take a nap, then work. Miki Kujo put her hands in her pockets. Rin Kiyono hugged herself. I'm going to take a nap too. I'll stay in the dorm to read in the afternoon. After walking away, Toru Watanabe looked back. In the heavy snow, the barbecue shop with its lights on and smoke coming out of the chimney was like a mirage. It was noon on a snowy day. Chapter 185. When they returned to the wooden house, the two ladies had something to do. Toru Watanabe also returned to his assigned room. The boys had already returned. Their sweaty and dirty clothes were all over the floor. The four of them gathered there to play mahjong. Watanabe, where did you go? Keisuke Saito asked while arranging the tiles. While you guys weren't here, I went to the hot spring by myself, Toru Watanabe replied. You're smart. The class monitor pushed his glasses with his index finger. When we went to the hot spring, we opened our eyes and saw someone's ass on our faces. Watanabe, are you coming? I can let you. In the 5-person room, another boy who was slightly distant from them asked. No, you play. I'm going to read for a while. Did you see that? Who dares to be jealous of Watanabe's national number 1? He relied on hard work. Osamu Kunai held a long chip in his mouth. Wait, don't touch the tiles. Eat. Keisuke Saito complained, can you not hold it in your mouth? If you win later, your mouth will be full of saliva. Wait until you win. Sorry, I'm touching myself. Are you kidding me? The sound of these guys playing mahjong almost blew the roof off. Toru Watanabe took out Memories of Time Like Water from his bag and left the room to find a quiet place. He tucked the book under his arm, put his hands in his pockets, and walked aimlessly for a while. Just as he was about to go to the coffee shop to read and enjoy the snowy scenery, he bumped into Aona Koizumi and Huang Zi. It was snowing lightly. They held an umbrella together, and the hot air from their mouths spread to the outside of the umbrella. Watanabe? Aona Koizumi looked over. Hello, teachers. Toru Watanabe's hands were still in his pockets. Where did you go? I underestimated you, Watanabe. Huang Zi's face was full of admiration. Aona Koizumi used her elbow to gently nudge Song Zi's abdomen and said to Toru Watanabe, We just came back from dinner. Where are you going? The snow will get heavier later. The school forbids students from going out and they must stay in the dormitory. Didn't your roommates tell you that? They're playing mahjong. These children. Aona Koizumi sighed helplessly. If you have something to do, teacher can accompany you. It's okay. They're too noisy. I just want to find a quiet place to read. Toru Watanabe signaled to the book in his arm. Diligent, young man. Huang Zi's tone didn't sound serious at all. Let's go to our teacher's dormitory. It's just me and Chingnai. We won't disturb you. Aona Koizumi thought for a while and looked at Toru Watanabe with a questioning gaze. No need. I'll go back and watch them play mahjong. Toru Watanabe turned around and prepared to leave. Come back. Huang Zi walked out of the umbrella and grabbed his shoulders. I'm very curious about your romantic history. Let's go to our room and tell us. Toru Watanabe looked at Aona Koizumi with a pleading gaze. Huang Zi has been telling me since just now. Aona Koizumi smiled bitterly. Don't even think about running away. Come with me. Teacher Huang Zi, stop pushing me. My book is going to fall. After a few steps, the book really fell on the snow. But Huang Zi was still pushing him as if he was afraid that he would run away. Aona Koizumi looked at the two and smiled helplessly. She bent down, picked up the book and followed. The teacher's room was more luxurious than the students'. There was a TV, a small fridge, a tea room, a quilt, and 2 big beds. Huang Zi pressed Toru Watanabe into the quilt. There was a basket of oranges on the quilt table. Aona Koizumi took off her jacket, made some tea, and sat down in the quilt. Huang Zi put her cold hands between her legs to warm them. She impatiently said to Toru Watanabe, Hurry up and tell me. Tell me what? Tell me about you and the 2 ladies, Rin Kiyono and Miki Kujo. Miki is my girlfriend and Kiyono is my friend. Toru Watanabe picked up the tea with both hands. It's over. Stop pretending. Huang Zi raised her hand and slammed it on the table. Then she immediately put it back between her legs. I'm not pretending. I'm really confused. Teacher Huang Zi, what are you trying to say? Still pretending. Then tell me, why did you run out of the women's bathroom? I'm curious. Curious? Do you think a normal person would believe that? I'm really curious, so I went in to take a look. Aona Koizumi peeled 2 oranges and gave one to each of them. Then she peeled her own oranges while watching the 2 bicker. While Huang Zi was interrogating and Toru Watanabe was talking about other things, from commenting on the orange juice, to attacking the luxury of the teacher's room, and finally reminiscing about the winter in Iwate Prefecture, there was a knock on the door. Knock, knock, knock. It was a very polite way of knocking. Who is it? Aona Koizumi stood up from the quilt and walked to the door. Toru Watanabe didn't hear the door open, but a gust of cold wind came from the other side. He knew that the door was opened. Good afternoon, Koizumi-sensei. Kiyono-san? Good afternoon, what's the matter? I want to apply for permission to go out. It's in the coffee shop. I'll be reading there. Are the other people in your dorm playing mahjong? Toru Watanabe imagined Rin Kiyono's cute tilting head in confusion. Then he heard Rin Kiyono's explanation. They're playing, but because I have to read, I'm embarrassed to make any noise. I don't want to accept other people's kindness because I'll cause trouble for them. Is that so? Okay then. What's so good about it? Huangzi walked over and grabbed Rin Kiyono's thin wrist. You came at the right time. Interrogation requires 2 prisoners. Huangzi-sensei, Huangzi. Before Rin Kiyono and Aona Koizumi could finish talking, Huangzi had already pulled Rin Kiyono, whose combat power dropped to 1 in winter, into the room. After pulling Rin Kiyono to the quilt, she hurriedly went to the toilet. Yo, we meet again. Toru Watanabe stuffed a piece of tangerine into his mouth. Rin Kiyono looked down at him. Why are you here? If nothing unexpected happened, we would have met at the coffee shop. Rin Kiyono noticed the book, Reminiscing My Years in Water, on the quilt table. Recalling Huangzi's words, she roughly understood what happened. Looks like you're very unlucky. Same to you. Why are you still standing? Huangzi came out of the toilet. Hurry up and sit down. Qing Yi Rin, who was no better than a puppet that could be manipulated by anyone, was forced into the quilt again. Huangzi-sensei. She called out with slight dissatisfaction. Come, eat this tangerine. Huangzi stuffed a yellow, round tangerine into her hand. Rin Kiyono looked at the tangerine and sighed softly. Thank you. She began to peel the tangerine elegantly. Her hands were slender and delicate like glass, giving people the feeling that they would break with a single snap. She wondered if they were as cold as glass to the touch. Aona Koizumi poured her a glass of water. Thank you. Rin Kiyono thanked her softly. Kiyono, Huangzi-sensei leaned forward. When did you and Watanabe begin? Rin Kiyono looked at Toru Watanabe. You're talking nonsense again. No, have you already decided that I'm talking nonsense? Toru Watanabe had no place to reason with. Isn't it natural for Toru Watanabe to talk nonsense? It makes sense. Although it does make sense. Toru Watanabe's tone became heavy, then gentle, but this time, it really didn't. Rin Kiyono nodded and looked at Huangzi. Sensei, what do you want to ask? Hearing their conversation, Huangzi was so excited that her cheeks were red. When did you start dating? Does Miki Kujo know? What do you plan to do in the future? Do you want to drive Kujo away, or do you want to live in harmony? Are there any political considerations of the big families involved? Rin Kiyono calmly ate a piece of tangerine, then looked at Toru Watanabe with her eyes that were like the Milky Way in spring. Crazy. Toru Watanabe casually concluded. Watanabe, how can you say that to a sensei? Huangzi reprimanded. I have a rough understanding of the situation. Rin Kiyono stuffed another piece of tangerine into her mouth. Huangzi-sensei, you misunderstood. Watanabe and I are just friends. Understood, sensei understands. I won't tell Miki Kujo, just say it. Huangzi definitely misunderstood something. Rin Kiyono sighed helplessly. I'm really not dating him. How stubborn. Huangzi slumped on the table weakly. Huangzi, it's about time. Aona Koizumi said. She had heard that Rin Kiyono was a straightforward child who didn't lie, but that didn't seem to be the case. The room fell silent, and only the buzzing of the heater could be heard. Right. Huangzi suddenly sat up. Let's play a game. Huangzi-sensei, I'm here to read. Rin Kiyono rejected without hesitation. 3 votes in favor, 1 against. What about you two? Huangzi looked at Aona Koizumi and Toru Watanabe. Where did the 3 votes in favor come from? Toru Watanabe asked curiously. I'm a sensei, an adult, and the initiator. There are exactly 3 votes. Huangzi said matter-of-factly. I want to read too. Toru Watanabe decided to ignore her. There was only one person left. Without waiting for Aona Koizumi to speak, Huangzi begged, Aonai, if you don't agree, I'll tell everyone about Kyoto. I already said it was a misunderstanding. Aona Koizumi retorted, blushing. I don't care. You vote. Let's play a game. Seeing Aona Koizumi yield, Toru Watanabe was suddenly curious about Kyoto. If he begged, Aona Koizumi would probably tell him, but considering their privacy, Toru Watanabe decided to stifle his curiosity. 5 votes in favor, 2 votes against. The rest of the activity will definitely be a game. After the announcement, Huangzi moved her butt and stood up from the quilt. She ran to the table and took out something from her bag to write and draw. After a while, she ran back and neatly got into the quilt. My self-made double 6. Huangzi seemed very proud. In double 6, the number of points on the dice determined the number of steps forward. The player who moved all the chess pieces into the opponent's position first won. The rules were simple, but for the sake of playability, there were punishments written on the grid. For example, answering a question from the other players honestly, saying that it was a high school romance. Toru Watanabe felt that he could add a student restriction to it. There were also punishments for making up the numbers. Telling a joke, calling out everyone's name before the game ended, playing rock-paper-scissors with the next player, and the loser peeled an orange for the loser. The dice can be replaced with erasers, but how do we play without chess pieces? Aona Koizumi asked. Use oranges instead. The grid is big enough anyway, Toru Watanabe said. As expected of Watanabe. How about this? Whoever wins first can eat everyone's oranges. Huangzi announced the winner's prize loudly. In the basket, there were still 6 oranges that no one cared about. Moreover, eating 4 oranges in one go, wasn't that a punishment? Let's start the game, Kiyono. You'll be the first player. Rin Kiyono, who had been reading all this time, closed the hardcover book with intricate drawings and reluctantly took the rubber dice. After throwing the dice, her orange stopped on the grid with the words, 10 sit-ups, written on it. In that instant, Toru Watanabe saw for the first time a look of regret flash across Rin Kiyono's face. Was she thinking, if I had known, I wouldn't have played this game in the first place? Rin Kiyono lay down obediently, and Aona Koizumi helped to press her feet. Rin Kiyono took a deep breath, snorted pleasantly, and suddenly straightened her body. The 3 of them fell silent as they watched her stand at a 40-degree angle and fall back down without any ability to stand up again. Rin Kiyono, who was lying flat, took 2 deep breaths and challenged again. Why don't we just let it go? Toru Watanabe asked tentatively. Rin Kiyono sat up, tidied up her hair and clothes, and buried her lower body under the quilt again. I can exchange punishments with you guys, no matter what the punishment is, she said nonchalantly. Kiyono-san, you should also pay attention to your body when you're studying. Aona Koizumi gently reminded her. That's the only thing I can't do. As expected of RA-san. Okay, let's continue. Huangzi urged. Something so interesting happened at the beginning, I'm really looking forward to the rest. Watanabe, you do it. Toru Watanabe picked up the dice. So, everyone, can I ask if master-level kickboxing can control the rolling of an eraser? Honestly answer a question from the other players. What a headache. Kiyono-san, let's exchange. Toru Watanabe said regretfully. Watanabe-san, your tone is too fake. Rin Kiyono said. I did it on purpose. Toru Watanabe kept a straight face, trying to restrain his smile. Rin Kiyono looked at him coldly, sighed, and said helplessly, "Ask away." "Ha ha ha." Huang Zi excitedly rubbed his hands. "Kiyono-san, how's Watanabe's figure?" "Huang Zi." Aona Koizumi hurriedly stopped him. "How can you ask a student such a question? What does it matter? Even if we're teacher and student, we're still friends." Huang Zi said disapprovingly. Aona Koizumi said to Rin Kiyono, "Kiyono-san, if you don't want to answer, you can ask another question." "Thank you, teacher, but there's no need." Rin Kiyono rubbed her chin and thought for a moment. "Watanabe-san's figure is very good." After saying that, she added, "Don't worry. But I don't care about whether his figure is good or bad, or whether he's beautiful or ugly. I won't give him extra points if he's good or bad." "Then what do you see in Watanabe?" Huang Zi asked again. "You've already asked, Teacher Huang Zi." Rin Kiyono replied. "I'm also curious about this question." Aona Koizumi looked at her. Rin Kiyono's head seemed to be hurting more and more. She thought for a moment and said, "He likes to lie, but he gives me a feeling that as long as I want to know, he won't hide anything from me. I don't know if this feeling is real or fake." "Is it real or fake?" Aona Koizumi asked Toru Watanabe. "Of course it's real." At that moment, Toru Watanabe thought. Rin Kiyono nonchalantly picked up her teacup and took a sip. Amidst the steaming steam, she had a faint smile on her face. Aona Koizumi nodded in satisfaction. Her gaze towards Toru Watanabe became gentler, but she was faintly worried for him. This is definitely a lie." Huang Zi touched her arm and felt the rotten smell of love. At that moment, Toru Watanabe suddenly thought of the system. "This matter, it seems like I can't talk about it?" "Forget it, Rin Kiyono doesn't know about the system anyway. It's my turn to ask the next question." Toru Watanabe finally laughed and stared at Rin Kiyono maliciously. "Wait a minute." Huang Zi stopped him. "I think 10 sit-ups can only be exchanged for 2 questions. Watanabe has to answer the last question himself." Toru Watanabe stopped smiling. "Teacher, you don't want to play games at all. You just want to gossip, right?" Huang Zi nodded with a smile. She didn't hide anything. "I agree with Huang Zi's suggestion." Aona Koizumi raised her hand with a smile. "I have no objections." Rin Kiyono also chuckled and voted in favor. "Okay, ask away." Toru Watanabe said helplessly. "What do you see in Rin Kiyono, classmate?" Huang Zi immediately asked the question she had thought of. Toru Watanabe originally wanted to talk about her looks, but that was a matter for later. Then he thought about her legs, but that was just icing on the cake. In this world, if you don't want to be hated, as long as you work hard, anyone can do it. Lying, compromising, giving up. Toru Watanabe thought about Rin Kiyono's annoying and likable personality and continued. She knows that she's hated, but she still insists on her own path in life and never makes up lies. I probably can't live like this for even a day. I admire her persistence, I envy her character, and I yearn for her courage. The room fell silent for a moment. Is it too serious? Toru Watanabe said, then I'll change it. Didn't Kiyono say that, as long as she wants to know, I won't hide anything from her? I also have a feeling that as long as I don't want to say it, Kiyono won't insist on asking me. Rin Kiyono looked at him in a daze, and finally lowered her eyes. She gently stroked the teacup with her fingers. The warm breath spread all the way to her heart. Is it time for me to fall in love? Huang Zi said, but how can I have the same relationship as the two of you? Okay, Aona Koizumi interrupted the topic. Watanabe, it's your turn to do sit-ups. Give me 5 seconds. Toru Watanabe supported himself with his hands, sat up, and leaned away from the quilt. Just as he was lying on the ground with his hands behind his head, there was a knock on the door again. Knock, knock, knock. It was very forceful. Who is it? Aona Koizumi got up to open the door again. Teacher, please call Watanabe for me. Toru Watanabe crawled into the quilt. After a second, he reached out and took his teacup and the remaining orange peel into the quilt. Huang Zi looked at the quilt with admiration. It was obvious that he was very experienced. Watanabe. Aona Koizumi was puzzled. Yes, he left his phone with me. Please help me go to the male dormitory and call him out. Kujo-san, can't you do it yourself? They live in the second building of the 4th row. It's too dirty. Please. Teacher. Miki Kujo said in a commanding tone. Aona Koizumi didn't care about her tone. She was only thinking about how to help Watanabe hide it. I'm sorry, Kujo-san. I'm busy right now, so I can't leave. Are you looking for Watanabe to return his phone? Or is there something urgent? Forget it, it's not a big deal. A person called Kumiko Owami sent him a message. Teacher, do you know this person? Kumiko? I know her. Aona Koizumi blinked her beautiful eyes. She's a student that I asked Watanabe to tutor. No wonder. Miki Kujo nodded. I'll have to trouble teacher not to introduce him to female students in the future. No, let's forget about tutoring. Studying is his own business. I'll ask Watanabe for his opinion. I'll make him agree. Miki Kujo was about to leave when she suddenly saw Rin Kiyono in the room. She turned around and asked, "Can I come in?" Chapter 186. Inside the quilt. It was an orange-yellow world. An electric heater was emitting light and heat. Toru Watanabe was kneeling inside the quilt with his arms on the ground. Outside the quilt, the sound of footsteps gradually approached. Why are you here? Miki Kujo supported her waist with her left hand and held Toru Watanabe's cell phone with her right hand. She looked down at Rin Kiyono with an imposing manner. Do I have the obligation to answer you, Kujo-san? Hearing Miki Kujo's sneer, Aona Koizumi was afraid that they would quarrel, so she hurriedly explained, Kiyono-san originally planned to go to the coffee shop to read, but we dragged her in and asked her to play games with us. Miki Kujo looked at the simple drawing of a double 6 on the table. There were only 3 oranges on it. The one representing Toru Watanabe had already been peeled by Huang Zi. The white meridians on the orange were being pulled out one by one. Apart from Watanabe, you can also sit with other people. Miki Kujo mocked. I heard Koizumi-sensei say, if you bully someone, it's because you like them. Kujo-san, do you like me? Yes, I like you. I like you so much that I want to make you into a doll and take you out every Daughter's Day to admire you. Rin Kiyono was unmoved by the murderous words. Thank you, but I don't like you. So, can you please leave? Do I have the obligation to listen to your orders? Miki Kujo, who didn't intend to stay for long, walked towards the quilt. That was where Toru Watanabe was sitting just now. Huang Zi snickered as he ate the oranges that were crystal clear without the meridians. Rin Kiyono was expressionless. Aona Koizumi's face was full of regret. She had let Miki Kujo in just now because she was afraid that it would be too obvious. If she had known that Miki Kujo would stay, she would have disregarded the teacher's face and persuaded Miki Kujo to leave. Miki Kujo looked at the seat and frowned slightly. Teacher. What's wrong, Kujo-san? Aona Koizumi snapped back to reality. Has anyone else sat on it besides you? Miki Kujo asked. Koizumi Aonai was shocked and panicked for a moment. She had never been in a relationship before, but she had heard that girls in love were very sensitive. Could it be that they were this sensitive? In the furnace, Toru Watanabe really wanted to remind Koizumi-sensei not to panic. Miki was just complaining that no one had sat on it before. Unfortunately, he couldn't do it. Speaking of which, why was it so hot inside the furnace? Toru Watanabe, who was kneeling, felt that his back was starting to heat up. Outside the furnace. No one, just the 3 of us. Aona Koizumi quickly replied subconsciously. Rin Kiyono sighed slightly. She had originally planned to say that a man had sat on it before, and ask Miki Kujo to leave. Miki Kujo nodded slightly and lifted the furnace. At that moment, Aona Koizumi, who was standing behind Miki Kujo, saw Toru Watanabe and sighed. Inside the furnace, Toru Watanabe, who was kneeling, saw a pair of beautiful legs in black pantyhose. It was very familiar. He knew how it felt when he touched it. He even knew the style and color of the underwear inside the pantyhose. He had personally put it on this pair of long legs before noon. The pantyhose was delicate, elastic, and extremely beautiful. Toru Watanabe's mind was filled with images of Miki Kujo's various poses. His body, which should have been heated by the furnace, became even hotter. No, if this goes on, I won't be able to control my breathing. Toru Watanabe thought that at least the sound of his breathing and the airflow would be further away from Miki Kujo. He slowly turned his body. Miki Kujo sat on his seat. There were two teachers on his left and right. Rin Kiyono was the latest to arrive. She sat opposite Toru Watanabe. Toru Watanabe chose to sit in Aona Koizumi's direction. He exerted force on his elbows, knees, and turned his body. Watanabe, you can do it. He started to sweat. Outside the furnace, Miki Kujo sat down and sniffed with her beautiful nose. It was the familiar fragrance of shower gel. She didn't take it to heart. The shower gel she used was very expensive, but the teachers of Kanagawa High School had a high salary. Moreover, Aona Koizumi and Huang Zi were young female teachers. It was normal for them to be willing to spend money on their own skin. Huang Zi almost couldn't hold back her smile. She smiled and called out to Aona Koizumi, who was still standing. Aonai, come sit here. Okay. Aona Koizumi walked to her seat. Kujo-san, do you want to play the game too? Huang Zi said, there are many punishments on there. You can punish Kiyono-san. Only then did Kujio Miyoshi notice that there were all kinds of punishments written in painted 6 grid. She glanced at the punishments one by one. She found it interesting and laughed. All right. At this time, Aona Koizumi had already walked to her seat. She lifted the furnace and saw Toru Watanabe wiping his sweat with one hand on the ground. Why is his face facing this way? But I can't reveal any flaws. Koizumi Aonai's whole body trembled, and she put her legs in the skirt as naturally as possible. In order not to squeeze Toru Watanabe's living space, she put her legs together and bent them. Then, she carefully tidied up her skirt. In the places that the skirt couldn't cover, her little feet that were wearing fluffy rabbit socks twisted uneasily. If I knew this would happen, I would have worn more adult socks. The 25-year-old Aona Koizumi thought regretfully and shyly. No one noticed her thoughts. On the other side, Miki Kujo stretched out her slender white hand and picked up an orange from the basket. She placed the orange at the starting point like a chess player. Then let's start again. Huang Zi said and picked up their oranges. You don't have to do this. If I let you go first, I'll be the winner. Miki Kujo said confidently. How can a teacher bully a student? Huang Zi insisted on putting the orange back at the starting point. Outside the furnace, the new 4-person team started the game. Under the furnace, Toru Watanabe was kneeling. He was so stuffy that he wanted to throw away the quilt regardless of anything. Outside the house, snow was still falling in the sky above the campsite. Kiyono-san, you go first this time. Huang Zi put the dice next to Rin Kiyono's hand. Rin Kiyono picked up the dice with a serious expression. She didn't care about what happened just now, but if she rolled the same number in front of Miki Kujo again, she would be punished with sit-ups. It would be very embarrassing. She rolled the dice carefully and cautiously. Phew! Her sparkling red lips let out a sigh of relief. It was a frame where nothing had happened. Kujo-san. Huang Zi took the dice and looked at Miki Kujo expectantly. Miki Kujo picked up the dice and let it roll freely on the table. Heh. Rin Kiyono laughed mockingly. Sit UPS. Miki Kujo frowned slightly. Come and press my feet. There was no time to change the scene. At this moment, Toru Watanabe exerted force on the tip of his toes. His knees were off the ground, and his back was arched. It was similar to a push-up position, but his buttocks were raised high and his legs were bent. In the next second after he finished all of this, 9 beautiful women's slender legs stretched out from under his stomach. Let me do it. It's not easy to do sit-ups in the furnace. Aona Koizumi was about to stand up. No need. Let Kiyono help me. Miki Kujo didn't say anything like, I don't want you to touch me. As long as they didn't offend her, she would maintain basic courtesy. Rin Kiyono knew Miki Kujo's habits, so she didn't care. Give me your legs. She deliberately raised her voice to remind someone. Unfortunately, if she reminded him, he would be dead. Rin Kiyono put her hands into the furnace and pressed Miki Kujo's ankles. Miki Kujo had 5 points of stamina. Although she couldn't do 10 sit-ups in one go, it wasn't too strenuous. The one who was really tired was her boyfriend. He kept his legs bent, raised his buttocks and stomach, and supported his body with his arms. He even held a cup of tea in his hand. With his stamina, it wasn't much, but it's so stuffy. It's so hot. His back, which was facing the furnace, was already soaked with sweat. It's my turn. Huang Zi took the dice. 3 points, fortunately. A teacher can't lose face in front of the students. Here you go. Okay. Tell a joke. Hurry up. Hey, wait a minute, let me think about it. Ah. Looking at Aona Koizumi, who suddenly shouted, Huang Zi curiously asked, You thought of a super funny joke? Yes. Aona Koizumi vaguely replied. In the furnace, it didn't say anything, but when Miki Kujo retracted her leg and Toru Watanabe put down his leg and breathed a sigh of relief, the breath full of heat accidentally blew on Aona Koizumi's feet. Her feet, which were wearing cute rabbit socks, curled up her toes. When Aona Koizumi said a joke that no one would laugh at, Toru Watanabe decided to change the direction. First, he couldn't stand to maintain the same posture for a long time, so he needs to move his body. Second, Aona Koizumi is a teacher. Even if they have a good relationship, he can't be too close. Last time, he had no choice. This time, it seems that he also had no choice? But this time, he still had a choice. Last time he could only do that. Third, in order to prevent the situation of Miki Kujo sit-ups from happening again, he was ready to curl his body to one side. Fourth, compared to the 25-year-old Aona Koizumi, the 16-year-old Rin Kiyono was calmer. Start to move. Elbows pushed, knees followed, crawling to the side. In the furnace, Rin Kiyono frowned slightly. Something came towards her white skirt. If it was someone else under the table, even if it was a girl, she would immediately stand up. But it was Toru Watanabe. She believed that he wouldn't take the opportunity to do anything excessive. Enduring the subtle feeling of the foreign object gradually approaching, she threw the dice. Before the game ends, everyone will be called by their name. Like a live broadcast to someone, Huang Zi read out the punishment in the grid. After saying that, she subconsciously sighed and said, Ah, what a pity, if it was just. No, I mean, Kiyono classmate didn't go to the talk about a high school romance stage. In the furnace. Why are you explaining on your own? Teacher Huang Zi. Don't underestimate Miki. If this continues, I'll be exposed. Toru Watanabe complained in his heart while continuing to move. Looking at his speed, other than the sloth called Lightning in Zootopia, she couldn't think of anything else. In the furnace, Aonai, Huang Zi, Miki. Rin Kiyono called out the names of the 3 people. It's the first time a student directly called me by my name. Aona Koizumi said with a smile. Well, it's a very novel experience. Huang Zi echoed. Miki Kujo held her hair and lazily mocked. I didn't think that there would be a day when you would call me by my name. Is it so disgusting that you want to throw up? No, Miki. Rin Kiyono calmly replied. Miki Kujo raised her eyebrows. I'm about to throw up. Lies. Miki Kujo sneered, lazily picked up the dice and threw it. It's honestly answer a question from other players again. What I meant was, just now, Kino-san also walked to this square. In the furnace. Teacher. Toru Watanabe finally finished the long march. His body was curled up next to Aona Koizumi's legs, his face was next to Rin Kiyono's legs, and his head was resting on his arm. Under the orange light of the electric heater, Rin Kiyono's beautiful legs were like a holy angel soaked in the afterglow of the setting sun. It's fake. In addition to her white dress, he could only see her white cotton socks. On the socks, there was a small blue dolphin. This woman was too cute. However, it was said that girls' sweat glands were more developed, so their feet were 6 times more smelly than boys. Toru Watanabe felt that he had too much useless knowledge. Fortunately, the 4 girls present not only didn't stink, but also had a faint fragrance. Toru Watanabe began to guess whether it was because they just took a shower, or they really had a body fragrance. Relying on his random thoughts to distract himself, he finally didn't feel hot for the time being. In the furnace. Let me ask the first question. It was Huang Zi again. She couldn't wait to ask, Kujo classmate, what's Watanabe's figure like? Huang Zi. This time, Koizumi didn't shout out because teachers shouldn't ask such questions. Miki Kujo didn't care at all. She looked at Qing Yi Rin's beautiful face and said with a smile, You're right. Broad shoulders, a thin waist, and a perky butt. Long and strong arms and legs. Also, it takes a long time. But no matter how many times you do it, it's too much. It's very troublesome to clean it up. The 2 female teachers were shocked. Under the table, Toru Watanabe, who was trying his best to resist the heat, was also shocked. Only Rin Kiyono was surprised. She tilted her head slightly, and her milky eyes revealed a hint of doubt. Time stood still for 2 seconds. Next question. Next question. Huang Zi couldn't stand it anymore. Yes, it's my turn. Aona Koizumi hurriedly said, Kujo classmate, if, and I'm saying if, Watanabe did something wrong to you, what would you do? What else could I do? Miki Kujo pretended to look at Aona Koizumi in confusion. Kill him. That must be a lie. Huang Zi said with a grin. I think I said that just now. What's the matter? Forget it. Miki Kujo looked at Rin Kiyono and said with a condescending smile, Ask away. What do you hate the most about Watanabe classmate? Rin Kiyono looked into her eyes and asked. Aona Koizumi was stunned. Huang Zi's eyes widened in excitement. According to what she told Toru Watanabe later, she was shouting in her heart, Fight, 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 oh yeah, were her original words. Toru Watanabe would never say such words. What I hate the most about him. There's no end to it. Miki Kujo thought for a moment and said, talking to girls, pressing on my hair while sleeping, forcefully taking off my clothes, using my work tablet to watch childish TV dramas, and so on. She looked at Rin Kiyono with a smile. If you want to hear it, I can tell you all about it. Rin Kiyono sneered disdainfully. Lies. Lies? Impossible. Miki Kujo sat up straight. Okay, it's just a game, Aona Koizumi hurriedly tried to dissuade her. It's my turn. I must throw a good number. In the furnace, because of Miki Kujo's words, Toru Watanabe was about to die from the heat. He couldn't take it anymore and carefully poked his head out of the blanket. Rin Kiyono didn't move her head. She looked down and glanced at Toru Watanabe's face, who was panting softly beside her butt. She didn't show it on her face. She reached out with her index finger and turned his face from facing her but to facing the ceiling. Sorry. Toru Watanabe gave her a look. But Rin Kiyono had already retracted her gaze and was sipping her tea. In this round, Aona Koizumi and Huang Zi didn't trigger any punishment. Rin Kiyono put down her teacup and picked up the dice. She didn't trigger any punishment either. Why didn't I get punished 3 times in a row? I clearly drew the punishments so closely. While Huang Zi was talking, Miki Kujo's orange walked to the grid with the words written on it. Miki Kujo didn't look at the grid. Instead, she looked at Rin Kiyono and read out the punishment word by word. Choose one person to bark or meow twice. The person being punished can choose. Please, Kiyono classmate. Then I can only choose the cat. Aona Koizumi said gently. Kiyono classmate, choose the dog. I support choosing the dog. Huang Zi just wanted to see the beautiful girl bark like a dog. Rin Kiyono didn't care about other people's opinions, but the person she cared about was looking up at her from her butt. She took a deep breath. Meow. It was a girl cat that didn't know how to meow. Toru Watanabe covered his nose and made a gesture of hitting the ground desperately. Rin Kiyono didn't know what he was trying to do, but she didn't want to see his face right now. She lifted the blanket and covered Toru Watanabe's face. So cute. Aona Koizumi praised. I'm going to have a nosebleed. Huang Zi said the lines of a pervert. Little Rin Lin is blushing. She's blushing. Huang Zi sensei. Rin Kiyono was expressionless, but her snow-white face was crimson red. Miki Kujo looked at Rin Kiyono and showed a disdainful, proud, and satisfied smile. An hour after the game started, Huang Zi was the first to reach the finish line. After Miki Kujo left, Toru Watanabe was almost paralyzed from the heat. Chapter 187. Miki Kujo got up and left the table. After the door closed, Toru Watanabe crawled out of the quilt in Rin Kiyono's direction. After his whole body came out, he lay on the ground exhausted. His hot face was pressed against the cold floor. Ouch, his whole body came back to life. Watanabe, are you okay? Aona Koizumi asked with concern. I'm still alive. Toru Watanabe replied weakly. He shifted his position slightly. The piece of ice just now was no longer cold enough. Rin Kiyono took a hardcover book and slowly opened it. I don't understand why you're hiding. You didn't do anything wrong. Or are you afraid of her to this extent? Who said I didn't do anything wrong? Did you forget? When Miki came, I was whispering sweet nothings to you. Toru Watanabe flipped the page. Of course, this was nonsense. Imagine a girlfriend walking into a room, only to see her boyfriend and 3 beautiful women sitting under a quilt, playing a game. The punishment was very ambiguous. For example, feeding oranges. Most girls would be angry if they saw this, not to mention the possessive Miki Kujo. And once she got angry, it wasn't as simple as ignoring people. Watanabe Toru and Seigo Rin could be forgiven. Watanabe Toru and Seigo Rin would make up in bed at night, while Seigo Rin would have a meaningless argument. But what about Aona Koizumi and Huang Zi? These 2 innocent teachers would definitely be unlucky and would probably leave. Sweet nothings? Don't talk nonsense. Rin Kiyono said with dissatisfaction. Doesn't Kiyono-san like me like this? Toru Watanabe laughed and stared at her expression from top to bottom. How did you know? At most, I can only say that I don't hate you. What a classic answer. I've read in a book that when a girl doesn't hate someone, she actually likes someone. Student Watanabe, stop reading weird books. You're mentally unstable. I'm afraid you'll really end up in a mental hospital one day. Shy. But it doesn't matter. I also like the way Kiyono classmate said it. What do I have to do to cure your self-righteous illness? Let me touch your leg? I think it will be very effective. Forget it, you can continue to be sick. Rin Kiyono refused without thinking. You're not a child anymore. Why are you being so shy with me? Shut up. All right. The conversation between the 2 of them had started abruptly, echoed each other, and ended abruptly. There was no room for a third person to interrupt at all. Looking at them, Aona Koizumi recalled something from a long time ago. Actually, it wasn't that long. It was around the end of spring and the beginning of summer. She invited the two of them, who had a bad relationship with her, to help tutor a student who needed to take a makeup exam. As thanks, she treated them to barbecue. At the barbecue restaurant, when the two of them were arguing, she said, "You'll definitely become friends. Maybe you'll even become comrades that are closer than friends." Now, they were really close. Although they weren't comrades, they were lovers. Aona Koizumi was a bit emotional. She smiled and said to the two of them, "Your relationship has become very good." "Not very good, it's very good. Kiyono classmate is my most important friend." Toru Watanabe moved his face forward and pressed it against the new ground. "Where's that Kumiko that I like so much?" Rin Kiyono pinched the footer of the page with her fingers, her gaze still fixed on the book. Toru Watanabe was momentarily speechless. "Is this how I introduced her to you? Aren't you guys still chatting using Line? Just now, Kujo classmate came to find you because of this, right? Kumiko and I are just like-minded friends. My feelings for her are just ordinary feelings. If it's really, I like Kumiko that I like so much relationship, I wouldn't dare to throw my phone away." "You mean, your feelings for me aren't ordinary?" "Of course. It's confidential. You're quite quick-witted," Rin Kiyono praised. "Thank you for the compliment." Toru Watanabe was modest. If he didn't react quickly enough, he would have died long ago. "By the way, Watanabe, you seem to be very experienced. You've done this kind of thing a lot, haven't you?" Huang Zi teased as she ate the 4 oranges that belonged to the winner. "What experience?" During the 1 hour in the furnace, Toru Watanabe, who had always been good at summarizing, deeply reflected on it countless times. He said, "It's because I don't have experience that I chose to enter the furnace first. It was so hot that I almost died." Huang Zi and Aona Koizumi giggled. Although they were 25 years old, the two's laughter was as pleasant as a young girl's. "Eat this orange to replenish your water." Aona Koizumi handed him an orange. "Thank you, sensei." Toru Watanabe didn't eat it. Instead, he put the cold orange on his face. After resting for a while, when the sweat on his body dried and his face wasn't hot anymore, he slowly sat up. "I'm going to go back and take a shower. I'm all sweaty." His gaze turned to Rin Kiyono, who was reading a book. "Are you coming? Well, then I'll also take my leave." Rin Kiyono got up from the furnace and elegantly tidied up the creases on her white dress. Toru Watanabe drank the tea that he had been drinking for an hour and took the reminiscence of time like water, and the oranges. Aona Koizumi walked the two to the door. "Kids nowadays are really amazing." Huang Zi began to peel the 3rd orange. "They can even say words like, long time, many times, large amount." Aona Koizumi sat in the furnace. Thinking of their complicated relationship, she frowned and said, "I don't know how long Watanabe can hide it. That kid only has himself to blame. Who told him to have a foot in 2 boats?" Huang Zi stuffed a piece of orange into her mouth. "Aonai, you spoil him too much. Maybe one day he will beg you to be one of his girlfriends. You might also agree." "Don't talk nonsense. We have a teacher-student relationship." Yes, it's an intimate teacher-student relationship. But then again, how much do you think Miki Kujo meant by large amount? A few tablespoons? Or a test tube? Hearing her words, Aona Koizumi subconsciously thought of a scene. Immediately, she helplessly and shyly complained, "Huang Zi, can you not talk about this kind of thing? What's there to be shy about? It's not like the 3 of us haven't talked about it before." Huang Zi disagreed. Just like what Koizumi Aonai said, the snow was indeed heavy, dense and blowing against their faces. But because there was no wind, it wasn't too cold. When the two stepped down, their shoes rubbed against the snow, making a faint, crunch sound. Toru Watanabe looked at the snow mountain in the distance and slowly exhaled. The white fog was like a slowly building bridge, as if it was going to be built all the way to the top of the snow mountain. Qing Yi Rin's eyes were as clear as the aurora. He stared at him for a long time before letting out a sigh. Very powerful. She nodded. I have a large amount. After saying that, Toru Watanabe regretted, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Talking nonsense was nonsense. Regarding Rin Kiyono, other than her legs, he didn't want to make any dirty jokes. What does large amount mean? Rin Kiyono asked. You don't know? Toru Watanabe looked at her in surprise. Rin Kiyono saw it as a provocation. She brushed her long hair away from her shoulders and proudly said, one of my smarts is to ask people who aren't as good as me about things I don't know. Looking at her snow-white face and her eyes that were purer than the clear winter sky, Toru Watanabe didn't explain what large amount meant. He reached out and patted her back. Ah-san, you've fallen. When he returned to the boys' dormitory, there was already a layer of snow on his head and shoulders. Keisuke Saito and the others were still playing mahjong. Everyone played as if they wanted to smash the mahjong tiles. Toru Watanabe took out Memories of Time Like Water, without a single snowflake from his clothes, and put it on the bed. Then he took his clothes and toothbrush and went into the bathroom to brush his teeth and take a shower. After taking a shower, he leaned against the headboard and read for a while. He felt sleepy from Prius's page of profound French sentences and fell asleep. Toru Watanabe was woken up by Keisuke Saito. What time is it? He propped up his upper body. The snow stopped. Hurry up and get up. Keisuke Saito replied that it could be any time, then hurriedly turned around to change his clothes. Toru Watanabe looked out the window. The snow had indeed stopped. The clouds that originally covered the sky dispersed, and the scarlet sunlight poured down on the snow. The entire world seemed to have become a furnace, and the sun that was about to set in the west was the electric heater that emitted an orange glow under the table. Watanabe, hurry up, let's go eat. Osamu Kunai shouted. You guys go. I'll accompany my girlfriend. After the four of them left, Toru Watanabe put on his clothes and walked out of the room. The road that had been cleared was now covered with a thumb's worth of snow. Several employees of the campsite were shoveling snow. The boys from Class 3 next door were building snowmen. From time to time, they would hit their classmates' heads with snowballs when they weren't paying attention. The snowball battle was about to start. It even affected Toru Watanabe, who was passing by. Watanabe? Sorry, it was a mistake. The person apologized with a smile. It's okay. When the person turned around and continued to fight with his friends, Toru Watanabe bent down, made a snowball, and threw it into their collars. Suddenly, the group of people were like ants stepping on a hot fire, screaming and jumping up and down. The weather was clearly below zero, but they desperately pulled at their clothes. Toru Watanabe laughed and quickly slipped away. Miki Kujo came back from Aona Koizumi's room. She immediately took a shower and changed into new pajamas. Lying on the soft bed, nestled in the comfortable quilt, she flipped through Toru Watanabe's phone. Browser history, photo album, line chat history, nothing was left out. Except for the fact that the chat history was completely cleared, there was nothing that made her unhappy. In a daze, she fell asleep. When she woke up, the snow had already lightened. Sitting by the window, facing the burning fireplace, she took out her tablet and documents and began to work. After a long time, the door suddenly opened. At the same time, there was a burst of smug laughter. She didn't look back. Only Toru Watanabe had the key to her room. A bunch of trash, they just had to provoke me. Ha ha ha. What are you so smug about? She asked as her eyes continued to scan the documents in her hand. Miki, listen to me. Toru Watanabe walked over with the cold air of the outdoors. Just now, I was walking well on my way here. In the end, the guy from Class 3 had to provoke me. He was beaten to a pulp by me. Not a single person was left alive. That's all you've got. Toru Watanabe sat on the sofa. That's all I've got. If I can chase after you, how can I be more promising? Smooth talker. Miki Kujo said lightly. By the way, did you see my phone? I suddenly can't find it. Toru Watanabe asked as if he remembered something. It's on the bed. Toru Watanabe threw himself on the bed. When he reached for the phone, Miki Kujo said, "You delete your chat history very diligently." You looked at my phone? I can't. Of course you can, but I also want to look at yours. Toru Watanabe said. Miki Kujo snorted with a nasal sound. She didn't stop Toru Watanabe from looking through her phone. Password? Toru Watanabe asked. My birthday. Your birthday? Miki Kujo looked up and said with a smile, You don't know? How can I not know? Toru Watanabe keyed in 0909. The phone was unlocked, and he immediately opened the email and chat history. Although it was a joke, he instinctively became serious when he checked. Chat history, photos, folders, he looked through all of them. They were all some information and photos of the two of them. There were also photos of their legs, but he also had these in his phone. Next was social media. Toru Watanabe found something interesting, videos of a blowing competition, and they were all shots of him. Nagoya. His tone was unsteady, boring. After saying that, he looked at Miki Kujo with a meaningful gaze. Just as he continued to scroll, Miki Kujo grabbed the phone. Where did you go just now? She asked coldly. Reading in the dorm, sleeping, not playing mahjong. What were you reading? Memories of the past. Recite it for me. So, Toru Watanabe recited the passage in French. This is a small, round dessert called Little Madeleine. It looks like a scallop. After reciting a sentence, Miki Kujo continued to recite in French as she processed the documents. I noticed a strange change in my body. I felt a wonderful sense of pleasure. It made me feel like I was falling in love. Her French was smooth and pleasant to the ear. Toru Watanabe leaned back on the sofa and continued reciting. It has no support, it comes suddenly, the reason is impenetrable. The joys and sorrows of life are nothing. There is no need to dwell on the sufferings of life. The shortness of life is just an illusion. Outside the window, it was sunny after the snow. Under the setting sun, some people were shoveling snow, some were having snowball fights, and some were building various sculptures. Inside the house, by the burning fireplace, the two of them recited Memories of the Past, paragraph by paragraph. After Miki Kujo finished reciting, I seem to see an ancient city by the sea, the rose-red houses under the golden rays of the setting sun and the violet sea. Toru Watanabe clapped his hands. I concede defeat. He said admiringly, Did you not remember the next part, or you don't want to recite it? Miki Kujo asked casually in a tone that said, It doesn't matter what the answer is. At this time, she was wearing pajamas that looked like a dress, tied with a ribbon around her waist, showing off the graceful curves of her slender waist. At the neckline, one could see her delicate and charming collarbone. I didn't expect Miki to read Memories of the Past, too. Toru Watanabe was slightly surprised. Miki Kujo didn't answer, she just gave a perfunctory and continued to browse the documents in her hands. Toru Watanabe poured himself a glass of water and sat idly for a while. In the end, he got bored and reached out to grab Miki Kujo's soft hand, admiring her round shell-like nails. Chapter 188. Lights out. Okay. It's so dark outside, I can't see any light at all. Yeah, I've always lived in the city, so I didn't expect it to be so dark at night. As expected, the darkness in the mountains is as dark as the name suggests. What the hell are you talking about? Don't you guys think that what I just said was quite stylish? I just think that you're an idiot. Rin Kiyono placed her book on the bed next to the window and laid down on her warm bed. As she left her book, she couldn't help but hear the girls in her dorm room chatting. The girls also shared a dorm room with 5 people. Apart from her, there were also 4 other girls, including Yoshimi Tamamo. Speaking of the mountains, did Class 4's Kuin Watanabe grow up in the mountains? Here we go again. Rin Kiyono silently sighed. No matter if it was the music club, studying, or traveling, the girls would always talk about boys and love at night. I think he grew up in a village in Iwate Prefecture called Kanazawa. You know so much about him. Tell me, do you have any ideas? I only heard about it from other people. What's there to say about that guy? Yoshimi Tamamo spoke up. Did you guys forget about how he beat up and yelled at girls? Did Kun Watanabe really yell at all the girls in the music club? I couldn't tell that he was that type of person at all. I think so as well. Of course. If you don't believe me, you can ask the other girls in the music club. Yoshimi Tamamo said. Rin Kiyono knew the whole story. He yelled at the girls in the music club for her sake, and he beat them up to protect that girl. Perhaps she was the only person who could see through his true nature. He was an upright person who was filthy within filth. At critical moments, he could endure unbearable pain and do unimaginable things. He could easily blend into the environment, adapt to the environment, and maintain his sense of self. He wasn't like her, who could only live in honesty. She didn't want to go anywhere else, nor did she have the ability to. Kun Watanabe usually seems like such a cheerful and friendly person. I never would have thought that he would do such a thing. Yes, the sports marshal is stunned. Speaking of which, I've always felt that other than being handsome, Kun Watanabe has many mysterious aspects about him that are very attractive. Yes, I have the same feeling. Do you have one too? I thought it was just my imagination. Hey, you guys. Yoshimi Tamamo sounded a little angry. Didn't I just say that he hit someone? He is a complete hypocrite. Rin Kiyono smiled in the darkness. Toru Watanabe had this kind of charm. Even if they knew that he was really a hypocrite and spouted nonsense all day long, people still yearned for a certain quality in him, whether it was strong, sinister, handsome, or carefree. Many girls were even willing to be deceived by him, right? By the way, have any of you received an invitation to the bonfire party tomorrow night? So beautiful. You must have a lot of them, right? Hee, quickly tell us who it is. Who would believe that kind of boring legend? So beautiful. I don't intend to dance with those boys. I say, So Beautiful sometimes calls herself So Beautiful. She's really cute. I think so too. Super cute. Most people would be very pretentious, but So Beautiful is completely different. I didn't call myself that. How is that possible? I'm already an adult, and I still call myself by my name. How embarrassing. The girls surrounded the topic of whether Yoshimi Tamamo called herself so beautiful or not. Rin Kiyono was thinking, who would Toru Watanabe invite tomorrow? She looked out the window. The weather was not good tonight. There was no moonlight or starlight, and the snow was silent. December 4th, Friday, the third day of the winter camp. Today was the last day. During the day, the students were free to participate in skiing, fishing, or mountain climbing. On the first day Miki Kujo slept. There was a courage test at night. In the middle of the night, she was served by Toru Watanabe, or rather, served by Toru Watanabe. On the second day, in the off-road car in the morning, she played games for an hour in the afternoon. When she finally got to work, Toru Watanabe came. Before night, she was served by Toru Watanabe again. On the third day, which was today, because she had to participate in the bonfire party at night, she could only work hard during the day. Toru Watanabe wanted to stay and accompany her. Go play, don't bother me here. I promise I won't disturb you or touch you. I'll just read my book obediently. Even someone as energetic as me won't think about that kind of thing all the time. What if I want to touch you? Miki Kujo's right hand moved down. Then I'll have no choice but to do it. Satisfying a girlfriend was also one of the conditions to become great. This was Toru Watanabe's thought all along. Then it'll be 3 or 4 hours. We can skip a lot of steps. If we hurry up, an hour. Get out. Miki Kujo retracted her hand and pointed at the door. He was driven away. There was no sound of people in the campsite. On the mountain in the distance, there were figures the size of ants dotted on the white ski-like ski slopes. Toru Watanabe went back to the wooden house. Osamu Kunai and the others were indeed not there. "Where are you?" The line messages he sent to them were still unread. Toru Watanabe did not know what to do for a while. It was Rin Kiyono. Toru Watanabe walked over. "Why are you taking a bath alone? Do you need 2 people to take a bath?" She used a hairdryer to blow her hair carefully, but the ends of her hair were still wet. "What if you get dizzy again?" Are you worried about me?" she teased. "Of course." Toru Watanabe looked at her strangely. Rin Kiyono did not know what to say. She asked, "What are you doing here alone?" "It's because I don't know what to do that I'm here alone. By the way, do you want to go fishing together?" "I don't like fishing." "What about hiking?" "Do I look like someone who likes hiking?" "Watanabe-san, your brain also hibernates? How sad, your life is a quarter less than others." "So Reza-san likes skiing." Toru Watanabe clapped his hands. "Let's go, I'll pay for the ski rental." "When did I say I like skiing?" Rin Kiyono sighed helplessly. "Forget it, I'll play with you for a while. Then let's go." "Wait for me." "What's wrong?" Toru Watanabe asked in confusion. "Are you going to let me bring a change of clothes to ski?" Toru Watanabe looked at the bag in her hand. In addition to shampoo, shower gel, and other items, there should be a beautiful girl's underwear. "What are you looking at, To-san?" "Nothing, Reza-san." "You're lying again," Rin Kiyono said lightly. After Rin Kiyono put the items back in the cabin, the 2 of them walked towards the snow mountain. The sky was clear. The sun was warm and bright, and the snow was shining brightly. There was not a single cloud in the sky. The sky was as blue as the sea, and also like a painted blue canvas. There are 2 paths in the campsite. One is a ski path, and the other is also a ski path. Toru Watanabe looked at the snow mountain. "What nonsense are you talking about?" Rin Kiyono said. "I'm just happy." Toru Watanabe turned his head and admired her snow-white face. "I'm in high spirits when I think about the fact that I'll be able to ski with Casino-san. You know how to ski? From now on, I'll work hard and you'll teach me." Toru Watanabe smiled brighter than the sun. "It saves me the money to hire a coach." "Watanabe-san, your face is really despairingly thick." Rin Kiyono rubbed her eyebrows and said, "There were 2 paths in the campsite. One was a wide and gentle beginner ski path, and the other was a crooked, narrow, and fast advanced ski path that shuttled through the jungle. Toru Watanabe did not know how to ski, so the 2 of them naturally went on the beginner ski path. The ski path was long and wide. Looking at it from the campsite, it was as if the side of the mountain had been slanted and flattened. Even though all the 1st and 2nd graders of Kanagawa High School were here, plus some scattered tourists, this place was still too big. Everyone could have a vast space. The 2 of them changed into ski clothes and found a relatively less crowded area. From now on, they would learn how to ski, teach. "Take my hand." Rin Kiyono faced him and stretched out her gloved hands. "Wait." Toru Watanabe raised his hand and made a wait gesture. The scene that I've been dreaming of for so long suddenly came true. "Lies." "Sorry, I made a mistake." Toru Watanabe put his hand on her palm. "The scene that I've been dreaming of is to be able to touch Rai-san's legs once a day." In just one morning, Toru Watanabe was already able to fly on a sword on the high-grade snow path. Apart from the tacky, flying on a sword, there was no suitable adjective for that feeling. Accelerating on the snow path, his body moved up and down according to the shape of the mountain and snow. His feet were lifted up, and he floated lightly on the snow. Sometimes the slope was a bit steep, so he simply flew over it. In front of him, the snowflakes raised by Rin Kiyono's skis passed through the snow mirror and rushed toward him, as if he was flying among the clouds. Toru Watanabe circled a few times in the air and stopped in front of Rin Kiyono with a rather elegant movement. Am I cool? He had a proud look on his face. I find that you're becoming more and more like a playboy, a son-in-law who lives in his family and idles around. Rin Kiyono looked at him with a scrutinizing gaze. Toru Watanabe was stunned. Idles around? Isn't he multi-talented? It varies from person to person. Of course not. You're obviously prejudiced against me. I get it, you're jealous that I'm better at skiing than you. Better at skiing than me? You really dare to say that? Rin Kiyono showed a contemptuous smile. Then let's have a competition. The two of them got back on the cable car and stood at the starting point. Kiyono classmate, let me see your full strength. Rin Kiyono did not say anything. She just smiled arrogantly. This woman. Start. The two of them rushed out as if they had jumped off a cliff. Lowering his body and concentrating, Toru Watanabe was as agile as a fish in the water. He gradually took the lead. After rushing over a large slope, he even had the leisure to do some fancy movements. He turned his head back in the air, trying to spy on Rin Kiyono's expression through the speed, the flying snow, and the snow mirror. Rin Kiyono had just reached the slope. At that time, Toru Watanabe thought that if there was a camera, he might be able to capture the scene of the two of them flying in the air at the same time. He would keep this photo forever. In the end, even if there was a camera, it could not be captured. Rin Kiyono did not fly. When she was about to leave the slope, she suddenly tripped and rolled several times in the snow with her skis. Toru Watanabe landed on the ground, slowed down, and kept looking back. However, she continued to slide and slide. When he was about to turn the corner and could no longer see her, she did not stand up from the snow. Rin Kiyono was not someone who gave up easily. Something happened, Toru Watanabe thought. Kiyono. He sat down directly in the snow, forced himself to stop, and took off his skis in a panic. Toru Watanabe ran up the steep slope with all his might. The snow that had just fallen yesterday was submerged up to his ankles when he stepped on it. Kiyono. Toru Watanabe rushed to Rin Kiyono and knelt on one knee in the snow. Lying in the snow, her lovely face was filled with a faint smile. It was an extremely pure smile. There was no arrogance, no contempt, and no mockery. You. Toru Watanabe was stunned. I did it on purpose. Rin Kiyono took off her snow mirror, revealing her eyes. Those eyes, because of the faint smile, were as bright as the Milky Way. Are you sick? Toru Watanabe asked worriedly. No. That's good. Toru Watanabe breathed a sigh of relief. No, what are you trying to do? You can't win, so you want to go back on your word? I didn't expect you to be this kind of person. You're so panicked that you're sweating. Do you care about me that much? Rin Kiyono said with a smile. Why are you asking if you know? Rin Kiyono's smile deepened. You're going to invite Kujo to the bonfire party, aren't you? The sudden topic made Toru Watanabe unable to guess her thoughts. But this kind of thing, no matter what, he didn't want to hide it from her from the beginning. Yes. He said. I realized it when we lost the off-road vehicle. Rin Kiyono, who was lying in the snow, looked up at the sky. Miki is my girlfriend. Toru Watanabe didn't know what he was feeling when he said this. As compensation for not inviting me, answer my question honestly. Depends on what the question is. Rin Kiyono sighed helplessly. This man yesterday said that he could tell her anything. If you had a knife, who would you let hold the handle and who would hold the blade? Just between me and Miki Kujo. Why are you asking this kind of question? Asking is a moment of shame, not asking is a lifetime of shame. Okay, it's your turn to answer me. I have a feeling that you're not answering my question. If there's a time like that, why don't we take turns using the knife? I want to use it all the time. I'll go to work and buy another one. You can buy a knife, but can you split into two? Rin Kiyono turned her head and looked at Toru Watanabe. Kiyono-san, If I let you hold the handle, what would you do? The two of them looked at each other for a long time before Rin Kiono's soft voice came. I don't know. But if everyone has to have a knife, I'll always hold it in my hand. Toru Watanabe laughed. He sat down in the snow next to Rin Kiono and looked at the same scenery. The snow-covered wilderness, the small town at the foot of the mountain, and the frost-covered trees. If there's a next life, let's meet earlier. Chapter 189. There was no one around, only the sound of people's voices could be heard from the distance. The two of them were lying side by side in the thick snow, looking at the blue sky. I should have guessed that you would say something like that during the off-road car race. No, I should have guessed it from the very beginning, Seino Rin said. Then why? You have the weakness of not being decisive enough, but also the strength of being responsible. After all, I'm just an ordinary person. Toru Watanabe said in a relaxed tone. Rin Kiono sighed deeply. The white fog curled up and disappeared in the air. You really forgot, she said. Forgot? Toru Watanabe turned his head and looked at her side face in confusion. The girl's beautiful little face was whiter than the snow, but it was more attractive. Your goal, Tokyo handsome man. I didn't forget. Toru Watanabe laughed and stretched out his hand in the air, as if he wanted to grab the sky. I still remember the first time I said it. You laughed at me for a long time. Rin Kiono also laughed. I didn't look down on Tokyo handsome man, but at that time I thought you couldn't do it. At that time? You mean I can do it now? No. Rin Kiono shook her head gently, her hair rubbed against the snow, making a faint rustling sound. After half a year of being together, I found that you really can't do it. Rin Kiono turned her head and looked at Toru Watanabe. Not convinced. A little. When you and Kujo are together, it's absolutely impossible to become Tokyo handsome man. You're very good at blending in with the environment, which is both a strength and a weakness. So, I have no hope in my life? My dream is shattered? My life ends here? Toru Watanabe asked. There is a way to save it. Rin Kiono's eyes were deep and charming. Be with me every day. Only the honest, noble, lovable, beautiful, brave, strong, elegant, pure, and intelligent me can help you become the Tokyo handsome guy. No one else can. You have many strengths, but your only weakness is that you are too narcissistic. Rin Kiono smiled nonchalantly, showing his absolute confidence in himself. Yes, yes. You are indeed honest, noble, and cute. What was it again? There's no need to discuss the fact that I'm perfect. Please focus on the main point of what I just said, Rin Kiono reminded him. Toru Watanabe thought of my Asahi. He had rejected her many times, until that night in Kyoto's East Mountain Villa, when the two of them became lovers. This matter was still hidden from Miki Kujo. If she was with Rin Kiono, she never lied and could see through lies. No matter if he was willing or not, he would choose to tell her about my Kujo as soon as possible. What would become of him and my Asahi in the end? Because the premise was if, it was impossible to guess, but one thing was certain. Question: are you more of a Tokyo hunk when you're with Rin Seino? Answer: yes. I promised Miki that I would be with her, Toru Watanabe said. I'm not trying to convince you. You lost this bonfire party. In the future, I'll make you give up on Kujo because you love me too much. I don't believe you. Toru Watanabe believed that he already liked this narcissist enough. But he also liked Miki Kujo, and he felt responsible for her. He also had to watch over her and prevent her from killing people. You have your own opinions, and I have my own things to do. Rin Kiono looked at the sky again. I'll make you like my research project, defeat Miki Kujo, and unwaveringly walk down the path of your own life. Kiyono-san, you're really bad. You deliberately broke up a couple for yourself. I never said that I'm a good person, right? But this is all your fault. Because I'm too handsome and too outstanding that you can't help yourself. Toru Watanabe said. If you immediately liked me when you walked into the human observation department, I wouldn't have let you in. If your confession to Miki Kujo wasn't a lie from the beginning, Toru Watanabe concluded, everything is linked by a freak combination of factors. Watanabe. Rin Kiyono called out softly. Yes. Tell me about you and Kujo. I want to know. After a moment of silence, Toru Watanabe organized his thoughts. On the 10th of May, at 9 o'clock in the evening, I was at Imperial Tea. The warm winter sun shone on the two people lying in the snow. It was noon, lunchtime at the campgrounds restaurant. There was no one on the high-class ski run. She's really lucky. Rin Kiyono sighed, and then his tone became a little excited. But if I can defeat her while standing on the unlucky side, my sense of victory will be greater, and her sense of defeat will be greater. I really have to hand it to you. Most people would give up, right? I've been fighting alone since I was 4 years old, and I'm more indestructible than anyone else. I'm not the kind of person who, everything has to be done on the first try. Although I almost never fail, I'm never afraid of failure. Is this also one of the things that proves your excellence? Toru Watanabe said. That's right. It's over. After listening to you, my impression of you has improved a lot. Are you going to admit defeat now? How's that possible? That's good. Rin Kiyono nodded with satisfaction. It's very satisfying to be able to overcome a problem. Don't say any more, I know. This is also one of the things that makes you excellent. Rin Kiyono pursed her lips and smiled. She didn't intend to say this sentence. You're right. She nodded lightly to express her affirmation. The two of them didn't speak anymore. They lay in the snow and looked at the sky for a long time. Halfway through, Toru Watanabe suddenly remembered something. By the way, Kiyono-san, do you still remember From Iwate Prefecture to Tokyo? He said. 400 kilometers. Rin Kiyono finished the movie's title. Why did you suddenly mention this? My love has long gone with the south wind. Don't sing. Rin Kiyono immediately interrupted him. Then you sing. Toru Watanabe turned his head and looked at her expectantly. Rin Kiyono's chest rose and fell slightly. After she adjusted her breathing, she began to sing softly. Every time I meet you by chance, you always make me forget everything, just like a little girl playing around. Can you hear my heartbeat? Coral reefs mottled our skin with their reflections. It's good just the two of us together because I like you. Her voice was clear and full of clarity. Her voice was sad and sweet, making one's heart flutter. Many years later, Toru Watanabe still remembered that day. The clear winter sky was very beautiful, and his nose was very light but always there with Rin Kiyono's fragrance, and her singing voice. The two of them went down the ski slope, took off their ski suits, and returned the skis. In front of the campsite. Thank you for your guidance, Coach Kiyono. Next Monday, write me a human observation report on learning to ski with a beautiful girl's coach, 2 or 3 thoughts in a boy's mind. As the head of the department, I will also write a report on teaching a liar to ski, 2 or 3 thoughts in a beautiful girl's mind. Do you have any other opinions? No, I just feel that you have a lot of prejudice against me. Don't you lie. Occasionally. Under Rin Kiyono's extremely oppressive gaze, Toru Watanabe changed his answer. Always. I'm not a beautiful girl? 1,000% beautiful girl. Any other opinions? None at all. The two of them separated. Rin Kiyono continued on her path, ignoring everyone else, while Toru Watanabe stayed by Miki Kujo's side. When they returned to the wooden house, Osamu Kunai and the others were already there. Watanabe, where did you go? You didn't look at my messages. Keisuke Saito said. Toru Watanabe took out his phone. The message he sent had already been read. Below it was Keisuke Saito saying that they were going fishing, and the specific fishing location, asking him to hurry over. You guys didn't reply, so I went skiing. He said. We're going skiing in the afternoon. Are you still coming? The class leader said while holding his glasses. No. After that, Toru Watanabe pointed at his glasses. Why do your glasses keep falling down? Are they too big? Hearing what he said, the others were also curious. The class leader held his glasses again. It said that my face is obviously asymmetrical, so they keep falling down. Obviously asymmetrical. Keisuke Saito, Osamu Kanai, and another boy laughed. Why is it said? Toru Watanabe asked curiously. Because I don't admit it. The class leader replied calmly. I can't see it either. Toru Watanabe said. That's right. The shop assistant must be bluffing. The class leader was so agitated that his glasses slipped down again. Toru Watanabe couldn't help but laugh. Why don't you get a pair? Won't it be uncomfortable? Impossible. The class leader held his glasses and said, None of you can influence me, I'm right. Class leader, that's enough. Keisuke Saito said. That's right, it's fine if you don't say it. After you say it, even an idiot can see that your face is asymmetrical. Osamu Kanai said. If the glasses don't fit, won't it affect the degree? Another boy said. I won't admit that my face is asymmetrical even if I'm blind. The class leader insisted. Toru Watanabe patted him on the shoulder. Let's not talk about symmetry. I admire your attitude towards life. Watanabe. The class leader, who was always calm, was so excited that he wanted to shake Toru Watanabe's hand. Toru Watanabe quickly dodged. At that moment, he understood. He didn't appreciate the class leader, he just didn't oppose the class leader because Rin Kiyono was also a stubborn guy. You should go order a pair of glasses. Toru Watanabe said. The five of them argued for a while before Keisuke Saito and the others went to the ski resort. Osamu Kanai stayed behind with the excuse that he had to prepare for the bonfire party later. Watanabe, can you do me a favor? Osamu Kanai whispered. What is it? Toru Watanabe took out Memories of Time Like Water from under his pillow. You'll go to the bonfire party later for me. That depends on what you want. Toru Watanabe didn't refuse, but he didn't agree either. He casually flipped to a page of the book and started reading. He had finished reading the book long ago, but it would take him a long time to understand all the French in the book. I invited Itsuki classmate to dance, but I was rejected. My condolences. She also advised me to give up early and chase other girls. She's a good person. Toru Watanabe said. So you're so sad that you can't move, so you want me to help you chop wood? Before I came, I asked the chairman in charge of the bonfire party to put me in the same group as Itsuki classmate. Oh. Toru Watanabe nodded in understanding and flipped to the last page of the book. I'll go for you. Thank you. Toru Watanabe read for an hour and a half in the dorm before he got up and left the wooden house. He walked towards the square where the bonfire party would be held. The chairman was a cute girl. She didn't let him chop wood, but arranged for him and Aoi Ichiki to carry wood from the warehouse. Was it more comfortable to carry wood or chop wood? Toru Watanabe didn't know, but the chairman probably thought that it was easier to carry wood. The two of them walked one after the other on the mountain road to the warehouse in the forest. In the silent snow forest, the sound of birds chirping was much louder than usual. Kwosui classmate invited me to dance, but I rejected. Aoi Ichiki said. I know. I'm really sorry. Kwosui classmate is really good. I tried it myself, but there was nothing I could do. Not only Kwosui classmate, but other boys as well. I couldn't move them at all. It's pretty good. There's no need to force yourself. Toru Watanabe said. If it was you, Kuin Watanabe, with an appearance that transcends the boundaries between men and women, I should be able to accept it. Are you mocking me? Saying that I look like a girl? No way. That's not what I meant at all. The branches on the road were broken, making a crisp sound. The two of them arrived at the warehouse and worked together to lift a piece of wood. Aoi Ichiki stopped talking about her and changed the topic to Miki Kujo. Miki Kujo has become prettier. Everyone in our dorm was talking about it last night. She was originally very pretty. Other than Kiyono classmate, no one can compare to her. Kuan Watanabe, don't be in such a hurry to defend her. Seriously. Aoi Ichiki pretended to complain. You misunderstood me. To be precise, Kujo classmate didn't become prettier. Instead, she became more charming. Girls can't help but be attracted to her. Are you declaring war on me? I still like my senpai. Oh, that's good. Toru Watanabe didn't finish the sentence. That doesn't seem to work either. I like Kiyono classmate too. Huh. But I'm nervous around her. I don't even dare to joke around. It feels a bit cold and arrogant. That's calmness and self-discipline. Yes. It's calmness and self-discipline. I was wrong again. Aoi Ichiki muttered to herself. I almost forgot. You and Kiyono classmate have an affair. Toru Watanabe silently lifted the piece of wood and pretended not to hear anything. And Home classmate isn't bad either. Aoi Ichiki's arms were a bit sore. She changed her posture slightly. Yoshimi Tamomo? What's so good about her? Toru Watanabe still remembered this 150,000 ex-girlfriend. She was a gold digger. But this was her personal matter. He wouldn't talk about it. Don't you think her body is super good? Her legs are long and beautiful too. But then again, Kuan Watanabe's girlfriends are Kujo classmate and Kiyono classmate. No girl has a better body and a prettier face than them. Don't talk nonsense. Aoi Ichiki pretended not to hear anything. Kuan Watanabe, tell me about their bodies. Which one is better? Why are you telling me this? Toru Watanabe had a headache. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have helped Osamu Kunai. Isn't it weird to talk about this with a girl? Boys are even more unsuitable. Only Kuan Watanabe is tight-lipped and knows a lot of information. I understand. You're saying that I'm neither a man nor a woman. How could that be? Hurry up and say it. Just say it. I won't tell anyone else. Let me tell you my opinion on my Asahi classmate's body. No. I'm not listening. I want to listen to Kujo classmate and Kiyono classmate. Itsuki classmate, there's something wrong with you. The red setting sun swept past the treetops in the forest. The night had dyed the ground red. The wood that was moved to the square was piled into a square without a roof. Inside the square was chopped firewood. Thank you for your hard work. The chairman of the committee said, Thank you for your hard work. The committee members replied in unison. Everyone, take the time to eat and bathe. I hope that you can meet someone you like at the bonfire party. Chapter 190. The cafeteria was bustling with people coming and going. As Toru Watanabe walked to the ordering counter, he heard many people discussing the bonfire party. The atmosphere was lively. While waiting in line, Huangzi happened to be in front of him. Good evening, Huangzi-sensei. Huangzi turned around and glanced at him. Oh, it's Watanabe. Good evening. Sensei, why are you alone? Where's Koizumi-sensei? Toru Watanabe asked. She caught a cold, so she's resting in her room. I came to buy some food for her. Caught a cold? Because she took care of a sick girl, she got infected, Huangzi explained. One person walked in front of the line, and the other two followed the line. Isn't she on her period? Although he didn't pay much attention, Toru Watanabe's memory was quite good. Someone else is on her period. Last night, another girl accidentally caught a cold because she was playing in the snow. Aonai stayed by her side for the entire night, but this morning, she collapsed on her own. Are you all right? I'm fine. I took some medicine and slept for the entire day. I'll be fine soon. That's good. Toru Watanabe nodded. Sensei, are you bringing food back to eat? Yes. Can I go with you? I want to go see Koizumi-sensei. At least you have a conscience. Huang Zi patted Toru Watanabe's sturdy shoulder. The next moment, her expression suddenly changed. No, this should be one of your pickup techniques, right? Seizing the opportunity to attack my Aonai? Let me tell you, don't even think about getting past me and Miyuki. Toru Watanabe was rendered speechless. After buying the fried chicken set meal, Toru Watanabe followed Huang Zi to her room. Underneath his feet, the soft, bread-like snow crunched as it was stepped on. Huang Zi opened the door with her room card. Aonai, I brought your sweetheart. Sweetheart. Toru Watanabe was speechless as he repeated this word. Is there a problem with what I said? Huang Zi questioned. No, it's just that this word is so old. Teacher Huang, you're not from the Showa era, are you? I'm only 25. As the two of them talked, they walked to the bedside. Aona Koizumi propped herself up from her blanket. When she saw Toru Watanabe, a soft smile appeared on her slightly weak oval face. Huang Zi placed one hand on Aona Koizumi's smooth forehead and touched his own forehead with the other. The temperature has dropped a lot. I'll stick an antipyretic patch on you after dinner. You should be fine by tomorrow morning. Aona Koizumi responded softly. The relationship between the teachers is really good. Toru Watanabe couldn't help but sigh when he saw this scene. It wasn't that good in the beginning. Huang Zi opened the lunchbox, took out a pair of chopsticks, and handed it to Aona Koizumi. Then, he picked up his own portion. Toru Watanabe also brought a sofa over. One of them lay on the bed while the other two sat around the bed and ate the packed dinner. It wasn't good in the beginning? Didn't the teachers grow up together? Toru Watanabe said as he drank a mouthful of soup. We grew up together. Huang Zi took the biggest piece of fried chicken from Toru Watanabe's lunchbox. But our relationship became good in the second year of high school. Is that right? I don't remember the exact time. It was in the second year of high school. Aona Koizumi nodded lightly. This kind of thing is very common. Huang Zi chewed the fried chicken. For example, in the third year of middle school, we were in the same class, but we barely communicated. Then, in high school, our relationship suddenly became close. The relationship between people is really incredible. Close relatives will gradually drift apart, and people who used to hate each other will open their hearts one day. Toru Watanabe said. It's obviously the same thing. Why do you say it better than me? People who can two-time really have a glib tongue. It has nothing to do with two-time. I'm just a little bit more educated than you. Aonai, your student looks down on me. He's scolding me for not studying enough. Huang Zi complained like a child. Aona Koizumi ate a mouthful of rice, pulled her hair behind her ear, and showed a gentle smile. Huang Zi, don't keep saying things like two-time. Watanabe won't be happy if he hears it. Even you are bullying me. Huang Zi made a fake crying sound. I was just joking. You guys actually joined forces to value a lover over a friend. Woo-woo. I'm sorry, teacher. I was wrong. Toru Watanabe picked up a piece of fried chicken. Here, I'll give you the fried chicken. Do you think I'm a child? You said you were only 25 years old. 25 years old is not old. That's right. I'm still a baby. Give me all the fried chicken. Forget it. You can continue crying. Toru Watanabe put the half-eaten fried chicken into his mouth. You should at least give me the piece you promised. You are indeed a scumbag. You go back on your words, play with a girl's heart, and cheat a woman's feelings. With that, Huang Zi suddenly stretched out her chopsticks and went straight for Toru Watanabe's lunchbox. Toru Watanabe lifted the lunchbox up calmly as if he had already expected it. He also took the fried pork chop from Huang Zi's lunchbox. Ah, give it back to me. Aona Koizumi smiled as she watched the two play around. After the meal, Toru Watanabe left to let Aona Koizumi have a good rest. Back in the room, Keisuke Saito and the others were talking about the bonfire party. "Who are you dancing with?" "I'm not sure yet." "What do you mean?" "I'll see which girls are left, and then I'll pick from them." "Pick? Wow, that's really domineering. Do you think you're also everyone's Kuan Watanabe?" Toru Watanabe didn't have time to respond to their teasing. He took his clothes and went into the bathroom to take a shower. When he came out, the four of them were already impatient. "Watanabe, hurry up, it's about to start. That's why it's so troublesome to have a girlfriend. You have to take a shower when you go out." "Yes, and it's a waste of water." Sorry. Toru Watanabe took the time to dry his hair. After he dried his hair, the five of them hurried to the square. There was no one on the way. When they were about to reach the square and could see the dense crowd, they suddenly heard an orderly countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Light the fire. Boom! Amidst the cheers, a bonfire rose into the sky like a small sun, illuminating the surroundings. Countless sparks danced in the night wind like fireflies. The five of them quickened their pace and rushed to the square. Keisuke Saito and the others went to pick their dance partner, while Toru Watanabe searched for Miki Kujo's figure in the crowd. "Dancing students, please come to the center." The chairman's voice was transmitted to everyone's ears through the broadcast. Along with the burning bonfire, the atmosphere in the square became lively. There was still some time before the bonfire party. At the edge of the square, under a lush pine tree near the forest. "I didn't think you'd dare to come. You still haven't given up?" Miki Kujo kicked away a pine tree by her feet. "The school rules state that unless you're sick, everyone must participate." Rin Kiyono hugged her elbows. "What? Are you afraid that Watanabe-san will suddenly change his mind?" Miki Kujo didn't answer. Instead, she looked at Rin Kiyono. Her long black hair, the contours of her face, her white skin, and her cherry blossom lips were all traces of her childhood, except for her eyes, which gave people a sense of pressure like the deep sea. "Every time you look at me, I feel a sense of disgust in my heart. I want to sew your eyelids shut forever." Miki Kujo's voice was as cold as the night wind. Avoiding the question, "It seems that I was right." Rin Kiyono showed a victorious smile. "When did you become so optimistic? Did this failure make you lose your mind?" "The bonfire party hasn't started yet. I haven't failed yet. Even if I failed, it's just one bonfire party. Once in the first year of high school, once in the second year, and once in the third year of high school. The person who laughs early may not necessarily be the one who laughs in the end. Such a simple truth, Miss Kujo, you must understand it better than me, a female high school student, right?" "Of course I understand. Let me tell you something else." Miki Kujo's mouth curved into a cruel smile. "I've turned defeat into victory many times, but no one has been able to make me lose when I'm in the lead. That's because your opponent is too stupid." Rin Kiyono neatly brushed away the long hair on her shoulder. "In front of me, you have a slight advantage by relying on luck. I advise you to be a bit more modest." "Luck? I don't care what you want to do to other people, but for the safety of Watanabe, classmate and his family, it's best if you don't have any other ideas." Miki Kujo's face was cold. "You know a lot. Is that why you dare to come here today?" "I can see through lies, so I know more than you think." Rin Kiyono laughed arrogantly. "Do you want me to tell you Watanabe, classmate's true feelings towards you? Does he like you, or does he like me more?" Miki Kujo slightly narrowed her eyes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Light the fire. Wow. It's so bright. It's so beautiful. Will there be fireworks later? A gentle breeze passed through the lush forest and quietly blew over. The sudden bonfire set off the darkness of the night. Miki Kujo stroked the ring on her ring finger. The ruby reflected a mysterious color under the light of the bonfire. I did have luck, Miki Kujo said, but even if I didn't meet him at Imperial Tea, I would have met him at the Human Observation Department. He's destined to kneel at my feet. Dancing students, please come to the middle. A voice came from the radio. When the radio noise disappeared, Rin Kiyono said indifferently, "It's just a hypothetical situation. Who knows?" With her voice, Miki Kujo's thoughts drifted away along with the sparks of the bonfire. If she met Toru Watanabe at the Human Observation Department and didn't know his secret, with her personality, would she still care about such a person? She would care. After Rin Kiyono cared about him. In order to disgust Rin Kiyono, she would definitely not hesitate to make a move. But by that time, Toru Watanabe would already have the backing of Kiyono's family. She wouldn't harm the Kujo's family's interests and destroy the relationship between the two families for this kind of thing. If that's the case, could she still win? That guy, would he still be with her? Also, now, he invited her this time, but what about the future? With Rin Kiyono's help, he could leave her at any time. No, the current her was the one who met and kissed him at Imperial Tea, was confessed to during the exam, snuck onto the boat to flirt with him during the dance, sat in front of the window in the middle of the night to watch the rainy night of Kyoto, and went to Kamabocho bookstore together during the weekend. If Toru Watanabe dared to leave, she would dare to make a move. He was the one who broke his promise first. You're here. Suddenly, a clear voice pulled her back from her thoughts. A handsome young man walked over. His legs were long and slender. He was handsome and delicate. It was Toru Watanabe. Toru Watanabe walked through the crowd and rejected two girls' invitations to dance. Finally, he saw Miki Kujo in the corner. He didn't expect Rin Kiyono to be here too, and even stood together with Miki Kujo. Just how strong is this guy? They were wearing the same winter school uniform as the girls around them, but they looked different. Their figures were slender, and they were so beautiful that they looked like goddesses attracted by the fireworks of the mortal world. You're here. He walked up to them. Miki Kujo looked at him coldly. What's wrong? Toru Watanabe asked curiously. You know it yourself. Know what? Forget it. Toru Watanabe stretched out his hand. Miki, my beautiful princess, will you dance with me? To Toru Watanabe's surprise, although Miki Kujo put her hand in his, she didn't look happy about winning against Rin Kiyono at all. Toru Watanabe really wanted to ask Rin Kiyono what kind of methods he used to defeat Miki Kujo like this. But that kind of thing didn't matter. What he should do now was to focus on dancing with his Miki. The two of them walked hand in hand to the bonfire. One was handsome, the other beautiful. They were tall and slender, like a real prince and princess. Gasps of surprise could be heard from the surrounding girls. Toru Watanabe hugged Miki Kujo's slender waist that he had held countless times, and held her straight and slender fingers that he had held countless times. The two of them danced gracefully by the bonfire. Miki Kujo looked at Toru Watanabe in front of her. She opened her mouth to say something, but in the end, she didn't say anything. After a few dances, her cold face was gradually melted by the bonfire. She opened her mouth again, and this time she spoke. Watanabe. I like you. Miki Kujo's side face was red under the light of the bonfire. It was even a little hot. Toru Watanabe was stunned and said, This can't be Miss Kujo's scheme, right? You want me to be infatuated with you forever? Miki Kujo stepped on his foot fiercely. Ah, it hurts. Miki Kujo sneered. Her expression was full of murderous intent. You actually saw through it. That's right, this is my method to enslave you. Then, she wrapped her arms around Toru Watanabe's body and leaned on him gently, her head on his shoulder. I order you to take what I said just now seriously, do you hear me? There was a hint of shyness in her tone of command. Toru Watanabe stroked her long hair and felt her soft body. No need to order me. He whispered softly in her ear. Do you think I'll let you go now? Not even the Kujo family. You have guts to look down on the Kujo family. But, seeing that you're going to be my husband, I'll allow you to have such guts. When are we getting married? 18 years old. Ah, there are still 2 years. Can you think of a way to change the law to 16 years old? If I had that kind of power, the first law passed would be to prohibit any woman from talking to you. At least let my mom and your mom go. By the way, Kiyono. Wait, don't step on me. I was wrong, I was really wrong. I won't talk nonsense anymore. In the bonfire, their shadows overlapped. Chapter 191. Miki Kujo suddenly stopped dancing. Let's go back. I'm tired. Aren't you waiting for the final song? Toru Watanabe said, I've heard of a legend that the moment the bonfire party ends, the two people who hold hands will be fated to grow old together. Miki Kujo looked slightly contemptuous and disdainful. If the bonfire party is really so magical, the world would be in chaos. After saying that, she raised her face and stared at Toru Watanabe. I participated in such a boring event because I wanted to see what you would choose in the end. Are you satisfied? Toru Watanabe put his hands around her waist and said with a chuckle. The bonfire illuminated the side of their faces. At least you know what's good for you. Are you happy? It's okay. How okay is okay? Miki Kujo glanced at him. Even if I tell you how good it is, can you tell how good it is? After she said this, she saw Toru Watanabe's eyes revealing a thoughtful look. About a second later, his eyes became clear again and his lips moved to her ear. Then tell me, if you were wearing a lotus leaf dress now, would you want to gently hold the hem of the dress and spin in circles? Miki Kujo really admired this person. He could actually think of a way to quantify happiness in such a short time. I find that you are really annoying sometimes. She pushed Toru Watanabe away. Tell me, do you know how to spin in circles? Toru Watanabe chuckled and asked. Stop talking nonsense. Let's go. She held her left elbow with her right hand and grabbed Toru Watanabe's tie with her left hand. She forcefully pulled him away from the dancing crowd. Also, I hate hypotheses. Don't say this word in the future. Do you hear me? Why? Without hypotheses, science won't progress. I don't care about science. So fierce. Miki Kujo grabbed his tie. Their target was the pine tree from before. Rin Kiyono was reading a book. Even though the surrounding atmosphere was noisy, her beautiful little face was so focused. Toru Watanabe even felt that the air around her must be clearer than other places. Out of the habit of learning from excellent people and surpassing Rin Kiyono sooner or later, Toru Watanabe looked at the title of the book. Clogs on a Clear Day, by Kaze Nagai. Hearing the footsteps of the two approaching, Rin Kiyono raised her face from the book. The bonfire in the distance couldn't wait to kiss her. Her delicate face was dyed with an illusory color like the afterglow of the setting sun. Are you here to show off? Rin Kiyono's voice was penetrating. You just said that I'm not allowed to touch Watanabe and his family. Then let me tell you, if you dare to touch Watanabe, don't blame me for being rude. Have you ever been polite to me after I was 5 years old? Rin Kiyono didn't care at all. I didn't expect that a good girl like you would touch someone else's boyfriend. Miki Kujo sneered. Haven't you always known about the research project of making Toru Watanabe fall in love with Rin Kiyono? Why are you so anxious now? Rin Kiyono finished speaking and added, cater to the world's point of view, erase your own personality, give up on your goals, and foolishly pretend to be gentle in order to make others like you. Of the 3 people here, only Watanabe-san is a liar, right? Miki Kujo-san, I don't think you have the right to criticize me. Wait a moment. Toru Watanabe interrupted. Are you planning to isolate me? Ostracize me? Rin Kiyono, shut up. Miki Kujo, shut up. I'm sorry. Toru Watanabe's tactic of easing the atmosphere failed. Miki Kujo's gaze shifted from Toru Watanabe to Rin Kiyono. Then let's do it. She revealed a sinister smile. Let's see who gets the last laugh. It's not just about turning Watanabe-san into an ape. I'll be the winner in all aspects of grades, art, and future career achievements. Rin Kiyono declared confidently. For someone like her, even her black hair was shining. It's good to be confident. Miki Kujo wasn't weak, but I advise you not to be too arrogant. If you lose because of your arrogance, don't say it's luck. Thank you for the reminder. I'll say it again. You should also be humble. As far as Toru Watanabe was concerned, both of them should be humble. He had never seen anyone more narcissistic than them. He was the only conscience of the Human Observation Department. After the two girls finished their fierce talk, the three of them walked back to the campsite. Didn't you say that, according to the school's rules, everyone has to participate? Yes, but the school doesn't say that everyone has to stay until the end. What do you mean by being absolutely honest? You're just picking the best conditions for yourself, aren't you? Kujio-san, you can look at me however you like. But you've done too many bad things, so you should be careful when you walk at night. Don't just happen to walk into Imperial Tea Water and then meet Watanabe-san drinking coffee at a coffee shop. They were arguing again. Toru Watanabe stepped back, letting the two of them walk together. Do you think I'll be taken advantage of in the same place? As for Watanabe, he'll always be by my side for the next few decades. Kiyono-san, you don't have to. As they were talking, someone was carrying firewood and dropped it on the ground. At night, on the snowy ground, Miki Kujo, who was busy refuting Rin Kiyono, stepped on a round firewood and fell down. She reacted quickly and supported herself with her hands to prevent her clothes from getting dirty. I told you to be careful when you walk at night, Rin Kiyono said with a cheerful voice. Miki Kujo, who was supporting herself on the ground, had a gloomier expression than the night sky in the forest. Miki, are you okay? Toru Watanabe hurried over. If he was by Miki Kujo's side just now, no matter what happened, he would be able to hold her back. But because she was arguing with Rin Kiyono, Toru Watanabe deliberately fell behind, resulting in this situation. Before he could reach out his hand, Miki Kujo suddenly stretched out her black stockinged leg, aimed at Rin Kiyono's stockinged leg, and nimbly hooked it. Ah! There was a soft cry. Rin Kiyono, who was in a panic, barely managed to support herself with her hands. What are you doing? She asked with a cold face and a flat tone. Cater to the world's point of view, erase your own personality, give up on your goals, and foolishly pretend to be gentle in order to make others like you. Of the three people here, only Watanabe-san is a liar, right? Rin Kiyono-san, I don't think you have the right to criticize me. Seeing Rin Kiyono's face become even colder, Miki Kujo's mood naturally became cheerful. If she really wore a lotus leaf dress, and there was no one around, she would definitely grab the hem of the dress and spin around. I really feel sorry for you, Rin Kiyono said with a sneer. It's fine if you don't dare to admit your failure, but you even have to use other people's excuses. I only do things that make me happy, Kiyono-san. It's not like this is the first day you know me. Toru Watanabe was really caught off guard. He didn't think that Miki Kujo would do such a thing. Looking at the two people lying in the snow arguing, he helplessly stretched out his hands and grabbed their arms. While pulling them up, he said, "You two should stop before going too far. What's the use of saying so much? Didn't you say that it's a competition of grades and arts?" At this time, there was suddenly the sound of fireworks exploding. Following a series of boom, 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 clusters of smoke and fire rushed into the night sky with tails behind them. When they reached a certain height, they suddenly exploded. The dark sky was multicolored and colorful. In the distant square, there were lively cheers. Beside the bonfire, a young boy and a young girl held hands. In an invisible corner, there were also people who didn't want others to know. They secretly held hands. How long are you going to hold hands? Miki Kujo's mouth was filled with cold air, as if the Ice Age was going to repeat itself and freeze everything. No. Toru Watanabe hurriedly let go. I just want to help the two of you up. You want to help Rin Kiyono? Miki Kujo grabbed Toru Watanabe's tie, their faces almost touching, and stared into his eyes. Miki, you tripped her. As your boyfriend, I want to apologize, so... Enough. Miki Kujo said word by word. Do you think I'll believe this nonsense? The fireworks were set off by themselves. It has nothing to do with me. I'm innocent. Also, Miki, I thought you didn't care about the legend? I don't care, but that's not a reason for you to hold hands with her. Miki Kujo's murderous look became more and more intense. I'm innocent, the fireworks set me up. Miki Kujo pushed Toru Watanabe away. I'll deal with you tonight. She turned her face and said to Rin Kiyono, who was watching the show with his arms crossed, Aren't we competing in arts? There's a piano room in my room. Watanabe, you be the judge. Rin Kiyono put his hand on his chin, thought for a moment, and said, With Watanabe classmate's ability and identity, he is indeed qualified to be our judge. But Toru Watanabe didn't want to be a judge. He just wanted to go back to sleep, and when he woke up, he would take the bus to leave this nightmarish winter camp and return to Kamigawa, where he had been away for 3 days, to continue his daily life as an ordinary high school boy. I think we should forget about it, he said. It's already late. It's only 9 o'clock. What's so late about it? Miki Kujo mercilessly rejected his opinion. She took the lead and walked towards the campsite, with an imposing manner, her hair fluttering in the night wind, and under the illumination of the fireworks above her head, she was like the queen of the night. After a few steps, the queen of the night stopped and looked back at Toru Watanabe. Why are you behind? Do you want to see me fall? Stand next to me, she ordered. Yes, yes, yes. Toru Watanabe walked up. Perfect. Rin Kiyono walked on the other side of Toru Watanabe. Then I can rest assured about Kujo-san. Watanabe-san, you won't let her hurt you again, right? That. Toru Watanabe, who was sandwiched in the middle, can I go to the back? No. Both of them said in unison. That's why, when it came to him, the two of them suddenly had a tacit understanding. Miki Kujo lived in a detached villa, with a piano room, a kitchen, and a gym. Everything was available. In the piano room, there was a grand piano, a guitar, a violin, and a harmonica to make up the number. Generally speaking, most people who learn to play musical instruments practice the piano, and learn the basics of music through the piano. If one wanted to go to a music university in the future, in addition to majoring in musical instruments, the piano would be a secondary instrument. Therefore, even if one didn't know how to play, they could still play. Except for Toru Watanabe. He didn't know anything about the piano, and the only musical instruments he learned were the flute in elementary school, and the oboe not long ago. But with his musical ability, no matter how advanced the piano performance was, he could still make irresponsible remarks, but there was no need for him to do so. He didn't have the habit of looking for superiority from others. Today he knew a little more than yesterday. Not a lot, even if it was just a word or a page of a book. That was his goal. What do you want to play? Rin Kiyono asked. Art varies from person to person. Let's compete on the basics. Miki Kujo sat in front of the piano. Her back was straight, her waist was slender, her legs were long, and her black hair was long and gorgeous. Mozart, Beethoven, whatever, you don't need to play. Find a modern song. Miki Kujo lifted the piano cover and pressed on the black key at the edge. The piano responded with a high-pitched note. On the black key, Miki Kujo's fingers looked even more white and slender. Then just pick a song. Rin Kiyono looked at Toru Watanabe. Watanabe-san, you're in charge of choosing the song. Wait a minute, what's an optometry? Toru Watanabe asked. Look at the score and play. Miki Kujo casually explained. Isn't that too simple? You have to look at the score for the first time. Rin Kiyono added. Oh, that's quite difficult. Rin Kiyono rolled her eyes at him. Hurry up and find a song. It has to be the first time. Toru Watanabe thought for a moment, then just play Jay Chou's Nocturne. I've heard it before, change it. Rin Kiyono said. You know Jay Chou? I'm not familiar with it, but I've heard Nocturne. What about Sea of Flowers? I don't know the name, but I don't know if I've heard the melody by chance. Sing it again. The two young ladies looked at him strangely. Miki Kujo couldn't help but say, Your singing is so bad it's hopeless. Rin Kiyono nodded in agreement. Say no more, I know it's bad. Toru Watanabe gestured for them to stop. Is Sea of Flowers okay? No problem. Neither of them had heard of this song before. Toru Watanabe found the piano score for Sea of Flowers on the internet. It was easy to find such a famous song. In order to be as fair as possible, when the first person played, the other person had to open another piano room. With Rin Kiyono's ability to see through lies, no one would cheat. Miki Kujo played first. The song flowed smoothly. The notes on the score were not isolated notes, but grammatical sentences. In terms of skill, many people practiced for a long time to reach this level. Next was Rin Kiyono. Toru Watanabe noticed that Miki Kujo didn't ask her if she was secretly reading the score outside. The two of them didn't have a good relationship, but there was a certain trust between them. Rin Kiyono's melody was light. It was obviously her first time playing, but her technique and charm were not bad at all. Miki Kujo didn't need to go out again, so she also stayed. She leaned against the wall, crossed her arms, closed her eyes, and listened. The curves of her body were particularly graceful. After the last note, Toru Watanabe regretted it. There was almost no difference between the two of them. Even if the judges of the piano exam came, there would probably be a 50-50 split. However, Toru Watanabe was a superb oboe. Although there was a gap between the instruments, it was easy to tell the difference between good and bad. Toru Watanabe always had a feeling. Could it be that the number of times the system screwed him over was more than the number of times it helped him? Watanabe-san, who's better? Rin Kiyono asked. This? I'll say, fighting and killing and whatnot. Just say it. Miki Kujo interrupted his hemming and hawing. Miki. Toru Watanabe's voice became dry and crisp. Rin Kiyono's mouth slightly curved, and she smiled. Chin-Yi Rin's song was even better. There was a hint of charm in her song, like a gentle night breeze blowing through the grassland. Watanabe-san, you really like to lie. Rin Kiyono said with a smile. Lie. Miki Kujo pulled Toru Watanabe's tie, and lovingly stroked his flawless face. I call this favoritism, and I'm very satisfied with this result. Rin Kiyono's face became cold, and her cold eyes glanced at Toru Watanabe. I already said don't compete, no matter what, it's my fault. Toru Watanabe returned with such a look. Kiyono-san, Miki Kujo looked at Rin Kiyono with a smile. How long are you going to stay here? Don't disturb us couples being intimate, okay? Rin Kiyono glanced at her, and politely said good night. She neatly waved her long hair, and walked out of the piano room. As soon as she left, Miki Kujo's face became horrified. Toru Watanabe saw that something was wrong, and hurriedly said, Miki, listen to my explanation. I really can't do anything about whether the music is good or bad. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for asking me to learn, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to tell who played better between the two of you. So, the responsibility is on me. Miki Kujo said word by word. Completely correct. Completely. True. Correct. Then what about the matter of you holding her hand? Explain it to me. Miki Kujo reached out and twisted Toru Watanabe's ear. Ouch ouch ouch. Be gentle. On the last night of the winter camping, Toru Watanabe was F***ked. Chapter 192. The tram entered the platform and Toru Watanabe followed the flow of people onto the tram. He didn't need to look to know that there were no more seats in the carriage. There were office workers in uniforms all around, as well as students reading vocabulary cards for their final exams. There were advertisements pasted on the tag of the carriage. Santa Claus riding a reindeer left far behind by a BMW, KFC Christmas party bucket, providing 3 combinations to satisfy the different needs of 2 people from private parties to group dinners. Christmas strawberry cake from Spring Things. Reservation call, XXXXX. Toru Watanabe's eyes wandered around Yukino's body under the snow in her revealing Christmas dress. Why are you selling yourself again, second miss? The tram rattled as it moved forward, shaking the carriage. Toru Watanabe couldn't help but yawn. He grabbed the ring and stood in front of the seats full of passengers, looking at the scenery outside the window. It was already late December. Through the foggy window, he could feel the chill of winter. In less than a week, Toru Watanabe's second semester in high school would come to an end. The tram arrived at Shiya Station, got off, and walked on the ramp to school. The students he met on the way, regardless of whether they were male or female, were all wearing scarves and thick jackets over their school uniforms. Compared to them, who had their necks tucked in and were wearing winter clothes, Toru Watanabe's casual posture and unbuttoned school uniform made people wonder if the temperature was actually that cold. Good morning, Kiyono classmate. The 2 of them went to school at the same time. 3 out of 5 days, they would meet on this uphill road. The remaining 2 days were in the shoe closet. Rin Kiyono nodded. She didn't intend to say anything, but when she saw his exposed neck and unbuttoned school uniform, she couldn't help but ask. Watanabe classmate, are you really not cold? Of course not. There's nothing wrong with my head. If I were really cold, why wouldn't I wear more clothes? Rin Kiyono nodded and didn't say anything else. After returning from the winter camp, the relationship between the 3 of them didn't change much. Miki Kujo was not around, so the 2 of them continued to waste time reading books in the Human Observation Department. With Miki Kujo around, the way to waste time would turn into an argument, and the one who would get hurt would always be Toru Watanabe. Later, he learned his lesson and bought a chess set, finally freeing himself from the battlefield. As they walked, a group of boys with buzz-cut hair ran over. On a cold winter morning, they were wearing summer sportswear, short-sleeved shirts and shorts. They were shouting slogans as if their lives depended on it. White fog came out of their mouths in large mouthfuls. Kamigawa, fight! Kamigawa, fight! It was the baseball department. According to Osamu Kanai, the new second-year department head made a vow, if they can't enter the Koshien finals next year, in order to apologize to all the teachers and students in Kamigawa, the baseball team will sit on the ground in front of the school gate. To be honest, Toru Watanabe didn't pay attention to the baseball team at all, so it didn't matter if they entered the Koshien finals or not. But a group of people kneeling in front of the school gate, that scene should be very interesting. He decided to stay in front of the TV next summer and cheer for them. At the back of the group, Osamu Kanai was also shouting at the top of his lungs. Toru Watanabe saluted him. What are you doing? Rin Kiyono looked at him with an inexplicable gaze. Toru Watanabe put down his hand and said, Department head, don't you want to reflect on it? This is the rosy high school life. Our human observation department is about to wallow in the same mire as the soft sound department who drinks tea every day. How do you know about the soft sound department situation? Rin Kiyono's gaze conveyed the meaning. It's a long story, let's walk and I'll tell you in detail. After the 2 of them saluted the teacher on duty at the school gate, they stepped into the campus. The huge oak tree's leaves had all fallen, and sparrows were perched on the bare branches. On a certain night, I turned on the TV and saw that TBS TV was broadcasting a movie called K-On! In the animation of... The moment Toru Watanabe started the story with, on a certain night, Rin Kiyono stopped listening. He changed into indoor shoes and walked into the classroom. The warm air made his body relax. There was still some time before the morning class meeting, some people in the class were chatting, and some were working hard to prepare for the exam. Kuan Watanabe, good morning. Ikeda Kazumi greeted. Good morning. Toru Watanabe hung his bag on the side of the desk near the corridor, opened the zipper, and took out his textbook and reminiscing of the past. It's almost Christmas, Kuen Watanabe, do you have any plans? I just want to prepare for the final exam, continue to dominate Japan, and continue to be number one in the country. If it's Kuen Watanabe, it should be easy for you to do it. Thank you for your kind words. Toru Watanabe neatly put his homework aside and opened Reminiscing of the Past. This book was too heavy, he had to finish it before returning to his hometown. But Christmas must be celebrated well. Why? SKE48 has a song called 1, 2, 3, 4. Please advise. In the single, there's a lyric, Christmas, Valentine's Day, birthday. It said that these are the 3 decisive days of love. I have a girlfriend. Kuen Watanabe. Ikeda Kazumi took away Toru Watanabe's Reminiscing of the Past. Don't tell me you think that after dating, the relationship is over? Relationships need to be managed well. Is that so? Of course. Girls are loyal believers of romance. Even Kujo classmate would want to have a romantic Christmas. Today, Miki Kujo was not here, and the company seemed to be unusually busy. After school, Toru Watanabe and Rin Kiyono talked about this matter. At that time, the two of them were sitting by the window, playing chess. Through the non-soundproof glass, they could hear the music of the band and the shouts of the sports club in the winter evening. From time to time, the sparrows flew in flocks from the oak tree, and then uniformly landed on the branches again. Are-san, do you also pursue romance? Toru Watanabe played with the king's chess piece in his hand after he killed the opponent's knight with his chariot. This chess set cost him a lot of money, and it was quite advanced. In addition to the weight of the chess piece, it was also very comfortable to touch. Rin Kiyono put her hand on her chin, thinking and said, I didn't deliberately think about this kind of thing, but after all, my body is still a girl, I can't reject romantic things. She pinched the queen and moved it a long distance away. Toru Watanabe looked at it. If he insisted on eating the knight with his chariot, he would lose a bishop, and then he would be in danger of being checkmated. Even Kiyono goddess can't resist the temptation of romance. He moved a knight on his side. Does your family celebrate Christmas? It's a dinner gathering. Rin Kiyono stared at the knight's position for a long time. Even big families have dinner gatherings? It's just an excuse to bond, it has nothing to do with Christmas or any other festival. Rin Kiyono began to move the chess piece. After she moved, Toru Watanabe immediately moved with her. Kiyono fell into deep thought again. While she was thinking, Toru Watanabe held his chin with his left hand, and his right hand spun the king's chess piece like a pen, looking out the window. The days were short in winter. It was only a little past 5 o'clock, but the sun was drawing an arc, ready to disappear from the horizon. Nothing happened that day. It was a very ordinary day. It was the daily life that Toru Watanabe dreamed of. By the way, let's talk about the outcome of that game. After the king was eaten, Toru Watanabe said with admiration, Very good, I lost again. You're also very good. Rin Kiyono praised him with the attitude of a winner. The knight is very good. Seigo Rin's competitive spirit was greatly satisfied by the fact that he was able to emerge victorious in a white-hot game where both sides had a chance to win. However, Toru Watanabe could have won that game. He was unexpectedly talented in chess. In addition, at night in Chiyoda's villa, he would deliberately lose to Miki Kujo. Therefore, when the two young ladies played chess, they never brought him along. A 16-year-old male high school student who purposely lost to a beautiful girl is not competitive, and does not work hard to prove himself. Who is such a mature and perfect person? Yes, it's me, Watanabe, a great Tokyo handsome. What are you thinking? The loser, please arrange the chess pieces. Yes, yes. Toru Watanabe put the black and white chess pieces in place. This time I'll play white. The loser has the right to choose. Rin Kiyono was proud as always. The two of them played until the end of the club activity, during which Toru Watanabe won a game with difficulty. A few days passed like this, and it was Monday, December 20th, the first day of the finals week. The Christmas atmosphere on the street was getting stronger and stronger, and the shopping malls were pasted with festive red advertising flyers. The trunks of the trees on the street were decorated with lights. At night, when the lights were turned on, the streets were magnificent, as if they had really come to a fairy tale world. After the biology and English exams in the morning, Tetsumasa Watanabe, Osamu Kanai, and Keisuke Saito were discussing the answers at lunch when Miki Kujo suddenly came to him. As a student of Class 2, she walked in as if Class 4 was her own territory. In the classroom, the originally lively discussion subconsciously quieted down. "Why are you here? Did you miss me?" Toru Watanabe said with a smile. At this moment, the girls of Class 4 who were peeking at them were all infatuated. If they were in a shoujo manga, at this moment, Toru Watanabe's background should be full of roses, and even his lips and the corners of his eyes should be sexy. Toru Watanabe almost never smiled, except for Rin Kiyono, Miki Kujo, and now Miyasahi. Miki Kujo ignored his smile. It didn't matter if he was infatuated or not, as long as the person he was smiling at was her. She walked straight over, and the people who were originally surrounding Toru Watanabe quickly dispersed and gathered again. Keisuke Saito even pretended to ask the class monitor a simple history question. Toru Watanabe stood up and gave up his seat. After Miki Kujo sat down, he faced Miki Kujo, leaned on the desk, and played with the automatic pencil in his hand. After the 24th, go to the Human Observation Department, Miki Kujo said. The finals would end in the afternoon of the 24th, and there would be about 2 weeks of winter break. "Didn't you say that you don't want to celebrate Christmas?" Toru Watanabe held up the pencil so that the refill would fall out. He had asked Miki Kujo about Christmas before, but she said that she was not interested in holidays. Regardless of whether this was true or not, Toru Watanabe planned to secretly dress up as Santa Claus and sneak into her villa in the middle of the night to give her a surprise. Oh right, he would dress up as Santa Claus. According to the agreement, Miki Kujo would also wear a Christmas dress. For this, in addition to his own male Christmas dress, he also bought a female one that revealed her shoulders and had a very short lower body. It was going to be an exciting and memorable Christmas Eve. It was going to be a monumental event. Kiyono's family is going to hold a Christmas party. My mother and I received the invitation. You should come with me. Another boring family gathering. Toru Watanabe pressed the refill out again. I won't go this time. Do you think I'm here to discuss it with you? Miki Kujo flipped through Toru Watanabe's thick notebook. In the notebook, there was a small amount of English, then Spanish and then French. In the last few pages, there were even pencil drawings of chess pieces. His drawing skills were very average, and he barely looked like he was good at it. What can I do if I go? I'm useless except for eating. Toru Watanabe gave up. Looking at him, Miki Kujo couldn't help but want to laugh. When the laughter reached her mouth, it turned into a sarcastic sneer. You also know that you're useless except for eating? So, can I not go? Toru Watanabe put down the pen and held Miki Kujo's hands in his hands. No. Toru Watanabe lowered his head and sighed. Okay. Can you be a little more promising? Miki Kujo said with a cold face. Then, as if she had found someone to share the pain with, she taunted. In the next few decades, there will be a lot of such things. Is this the price of marrying Miki? Miki Kujo grabbed Toru Watanabe's tie. She was clearly sitting, but she stared at Toru Watanabe with a threatening gaze. She said in a cold voice full of murderous intent. Marrying me is unfair to you? Why do I feel that you're getting more and more arrogant recently? Miki, there are so many people here. Give me some face. Toru Watanabe poked her small waist with his finger. Miki Kujo glanced at the people in Class 4. Almost everyone was looking at them. She let go of the tie and slowly helped Toru Watanabe tidy up. Then, she got up and left her seat. Crossing her arms and taking 2 steps out of the door, Miki Kujo suddenly turned back. Watanabe, I'll be waiting for you on the 24th. Saying so, she placed her right hand on her soft lips and gave Toru Watanabe a flying kiss. "If you don't come, you're dead," Toru Watanabe added for her in his mind. After Miki Kujo left, Toru Watanabe's surroundings instantly exploded. "Ah, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. Miki Kujo-san is actually helping you tidy up your tie. And a flying kiss. Didn't you just touch her hand? That pair of exquisite and noble hands that belong to a young lady, you can actually touch them whenever you want. Tell me, how far have you guys gone? Attending Kiyono-san's Christmas party with Kujo-san, are you really an ordinary person from Iwate Prefecture? Don't tell me you're the male protagonist of some light novel? Kadokawa Bunko? Gon Gon? MF? Or Densetsu? You guessed it right, Toru Watanabe said in surprise. Are you really the male protagonist of some light novel? Yep, I'm from Fong Bunko. Nonsense. Fong Bunko doesn't have any male protagonists. Also, Fong Bunko isn't a light novel. You must be from Gon Gon Bunko. Hachiman by Kia, who also married a young lady, is from that light novel. Keisuke Saito said with certainty. Since you guys have seen through me, then I can only admit that I'm actually from Densetsu Bunko. Then, Toru Watanabe roared in a low voice. Starburst Tray. Shut up. That's Kirito's two-sword stream. Everyone joked and joked as they passed the time between exams. However, Toru Watanabe could tell that these guys were really envious of him, but he didn't know what they were envious of. Only someone as amazing, brave, diligent, hardworking, handsome, honest. From now on, hardworking, witty, humble, kind, gentle, and selfless, would be able to be in a relationship with Kujio Maiheim. Only someone like him could do that. Did they think that Miki Kujo was snow under snow? Did they think that they could woo her with their selflessness and gentleness? It was such a good thing, and he was envious. Wait a minute, even Rin Kiyono's narcissism is starting to be like this? No, I have to be more humble and use the adjective amazing. Toru Watanabe, who was good at self-reflection, thought. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.